Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Babylon Smite League here in week number 3. Mechanus Caduceus here with Airborne 1315, and we have Yami in the background working on the cameras, working on the angles. We're going to have Nat20, and we're going to see if they can roll a natural 20 up against the Mystic Sea Serpents here today. Airborne, anything in particular that you're looking for as we get ready for this one?
A lot of these players on both teams got playtime, or subs or whatever else in leagues where, Gilga and Ishtar, or not Gilga and Ishtar, Gilga and Enkidu are kind of mixed together. So a lot of these players, guys like us have played against uh, and had on our teams potentially, stuff like that. So really looking forward to see how much of a gap there is between players like that and others. Enkidu, as we know, was draft waterfall and being drafted up protected. So interesting and interested to see how that ends up playing out with guys like Elo, Celestin, Nero, Cafe Cat, Mid guy. I mean, all these people could have been drafted up. So just kind of looking forward to seeing stuff like that.
Certainly. I mean, there are a lot of names in here that could have been drafted in Gilgamesh, and that doesn't even just go for either of these two teams. That goes for a lot of the teams all throughout Enkidu. I mean, we talk about people like that, I immediately think of two of my teammates in Kingston and Dolo. That being said, two gods already taken off the board are going to be the Wukong and the Kali.
Yeah, a little bit of insider trading info on this. A lot of these players are in, Discord channels together. We played a few casuals last night, and they were already informed that Sun Wukong would not be getting through to Elo Terrorist. And then Tsukiyomi following up as that second ban for MSS here.
Yeah, no, I mean, MSS top three bands here: Wukong, Tsukiyomi, Soul. Those are just three really solid bands. But one thing in particular that I do want to point out is this Yamoja getting banned out by Nat20. And generally speaking, Yamoja, a god we all think of as
May the
very,
gods of
very
Valkyrie
high
surround you!
support, as Odin gets locked in on the side of Mystic Sea Serpents. So one cage is avoided, but the other is made.
Yeah, I mean, we, definitely saw something in the bans at the end of Nat20's banning where, Yamoja, Humbats trying to get rid of those giant team fight alts. Unfortunately, you can't ban them all. Odin going first overall pick to Celestin, someone that I've played against in solo. So, I mean, good pick, good player. Probably not what Nat20 was hoping for there, but at the end of the day, only 6
I will
bans.
hunt
Something's got
you
to get through.
down!
Even gods
And I
must
mean,
heed
two
the
more
scales of
things, three
fate.
more things get through: the Mordred, the Nemesis, the Agni,
Time
the
to
Cupid. Odin
burn!
and Cupid together, that's a truly terrifying combination. And when you culminate that with Agni bombs raining down into the fields of love, centered inside the circle of spears, I mean, it's just a terrifying combination right there.
Yeah, both sides of the
I
draft
will
right
leave
now, if you can
standing
cover
no
the other
barrier
side,
to
you're
our
sitting there and you're like,
success.
man, how did MSS get Odin and Cupid with an Agni? And then you look over across the board and it's, man, how did Nat20 get Mordred, Nemesis? Neith is being hovered. Obviously would be a great pick in just about any situation. Neith, a great god right now.
Incoming!
And then Ganesh as well. So both these teams getting
Wait,
really good drafts.
wait,
And
wait,
now
wait.
an
No
Ares.
mercy!
Is that Ares' eighth?
Yes, it is. That's what I'm saying.
You know,
Both
we
these
we spent
drafts are
so much
criminal.
time talking about the Odin, the Agni, the Cupid. I completely forgot Ares was still on the board, and that's one of the most powerful things you can have about selecting Odin up top. Is very few people really want to play Ares into the Odin. On one hand,
Kill
yeah,
away
you
his
can stop his
fury!
stop his bird bomb. On the other, you can go ahead and get caged along with the rest of your team and along with the rest of the Nimrods inside the cage. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I mean, very early on, already seeing a problem for
Warriors,
Net20
to
here
battle!
is it's going to be the relic balance, right? Guys like Mordred, you want an aggressive relic, but you're going into an Odin, so maybe you go Shell. Not always the case, but maybe let's say you do. All right, that's one. Ganesh maybe gets a second. Sure. All right. Immediately has to go team bead, second or third item, looking dead in the face at an Ares and a Cupid. But that automatically makes Ganesh the freest Ares pull of all time. On her, Neath, Nem, I mean, what do you go? Are you going to depend on your front line and hope that you're close enough with them with these shells? Keep in mind, one of them's on your Mordred, if that's the case, and you only have one set of beads.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the answer here, and I'm wondering if maybe the Mordred goes in this. You brought up, the aggressive relic having to go shell. Maybe he leans into the fact that he's gonna have to go shell, and even goes team beads for his jungler to really. At this point, you have to enable the Pele on that dive. I feel like, or the Nemesis, excuse me, Pele on the other team, Nemesis on the dive.
Yeah, but then you run into the situation where you are this Mordred, and it's like, okay, so what am I using my ult to get out of? Am I using it for Ares? Am I using it for, let's say, the Odin cage? Like, where am I going? What is my direction as far as my safety?
At that point, I mean, if you're playing to enable your nemesis, you're not looking for your own safety anymore.
No, for sure,
You're
yeah.
you're you are what happens when a support is playing Sobek and their solo laner is playing someone with more peel than them. You are that, except your support is doing their normal shtick. So the whole point, I guess, becomes you're expendable in fights. Play like it.
Yeah, I agree, and it looks like they agree with you as well. Mordred going Sunder and the Ganesh also going Sunder. So this team, I mean, on her Neath have leaps, right? Like maybe I over exaggerated the impact that an Odin cage can have. But Nemesis, kill your way out, man. Good luck.
I mean, they actually drafted pretty. They drafted pretty well into it. The only problem I'm seeing here is that this Nemesis didn't go the aspect. Aspect, of course, not being affected by anti heal would mean that she would be able to get the benefit of that difference in the two health bars from her aspect in every like the full benefit of it, full 100% benefit. And that's a lot of health to just get back inside of an Odin cage where you're not expecting any healing at all.
Yeah, gonna have to wait and see how it turns out for him. But now our waves finally clashing, getting to see some of these level one trades. Elo already kind of low here into this Odin. Celestin kind of ignoring the wave and just going for the poke. But I mean, that's what you kind of get to do as an Odin, right? You're lane clear, also you're stun. I mean, you just have the CC to kind of put some hurt on them. But Devo on the Cupid and this Ares getting very aggressive in the duo lane. I mean, the natural pressure that an Ares generates is just insane.
Yeah, the only thing that matches the pressure of an Ares right now in all of Smite in terms of the support role in and of itself going to be the Jormungandr, but where Ares you still have a lot of peel potential, you still have a lot of backline presence. You trade all of your potential backline presence when you take Jormungandr for this all-in, full dive, full commit style of gameplay out of the support that, let's be honest, a lot of ADCs just are not comfortable playing around.
Yeah, I agree. I will say, have played ADC a couple times against Midgod, and he is very much a wants to fight type of ADC. But as we're speaking, Celestin getting low, Elo sundering, both of them sundering, going to end up getting the first blood over to Elo. So we tuned in last time. He was looking like the victim in that exchange, but I mean, I not even an early back because he still doesn't have an item. He just got all of his health back and took the kill with him.
I mean, based on what you're saying, to the victim goes the spoils, and in this case, that victim was Elo Terrorist becoming the victor, as same seems to go be what's
Oh, Von
happening
Her
to
gets traded out
Midgod
here.
in the dual
Oh,
lane. The Honor going to get traded for Stop You. So not a very fine trade for the side of Midgod, for the side of MSS, as they do take a kill, but they drop their ADC, and that's never a great time.
yeah. I mean, just got done talking about how Midgod wants to be an ADC that's in your face, that up down when he has less than 200 health. The exact example of that. I mean, A1 comes over on a great gank, right? You see the solo happen in solo lane, try to get your other side lane a little bit of help. You end up getting the support, but the up down, I mean, just a little too aggressive, resulting in his death.
I mean, yeah, and that's one of those moments. See, let your team handle it. Your team is there for you. And Elo Terra is going to bring the big ult from the Mordred. That should be a dead Odin, and indeed it will be. Odin going to fall yet again here. Soloed twice in the first 4 minutes of the game. I mean, that's just the kind of pressure that Mordred can bring.
Yeah, two different teams, right? But both of them using the leaps that are designed as their escape, as damage. I mean, Smite baited us when they put damage on them. I get it. But also, I mean, Odin's fast is down now, right? And a lot of people, now that fast is, fast TPs up lane or in every lane, people start to appreciate that fact. You get killed one time, man, you maybe miss a wave. Maybe a couple creeps, maybe your backs. But back to back like this, I mean, Mordred gets the creeps and fire pit, he gets the neutrals, he gets pretty much whatever he wants, because even early in the game, Odin's respawn being 6-7 seconds, another 6-7 seconds to walk up. I mean, we're talking a wave that he just doesn't have access to. But Neath almost getting the Agni kill, but now Pele's on the gank, going to end up turning it. But Neath gets away one shot, and now A1's in with his own Nemesis ult. Neath ult on top of that. It looks like Pele, of all the players here, is going to die, but he gets away with one ult too, and Celestin dies off screen.
Celestine dying off screen to Elo Terrace doing what his name says best. I mean, it's an Odin. Odin brings pressure for a wave, maybe two, and a beautiful pillar.
That's
Not
big.
going to quite
That's
be enough.
big.
But the Dharmic pillars and Devo putting the stun down on the Anhur and the dual lane entirely into the gray screen. The elephant and the lion down for the count.
Yeah, I mean this is about as rough as it can get for a start here. Outside of the fact that Agni and Pele got away one shot in the mid fight. I mean, just about everything going wrong here for our order side. Celestin, I mean, we're getting to the point where Celestin is just not even able to walk up to wave. If Elo does not want Celestin to see a wave, they won't. That's just how this game is now at an 0-3 start. I mean, dual lane quickly approaching that same way. Luckily, different teams on both sides, so that's great, right? Elo's duo is down, but I mean, Elo is huge. And then vice versa, Celestin, hey, you're kind of getting worked in solo lane right now, but at least your duo lane's doing okay. So interested to see how these junglers start reacting, right? Is A1 going to go sit on this duo side because he knows his Mordred's huge? Is Pele going to sit on this Mordred because they know he's huge? Like, this is the questions that junglers struggle with, because there's no right answer unless you get a kill. Getting a kill makes you right, but if you don't get a kill, you're trolling. That's just the unfortunate reality.
Yeah, no, I mean, here we go again. Elo Terrace tearing through Celestine's health bar. Celestine going to ult, going to use the circle of spears here for safety and get out with that quarter HP remaining. Nero putting a lot of pressure down the mid wave as well. I mean, this is just all, it just, hey, it's just going forward for both teams. They're just trying to push it.
Yeah, I mean, our graph in the bottom left there, that goal per minute. I mean, we're talking just in solo alone, right? One team, solo laner's the top earner in the entire game. The other one, all the way down at ninth. It's just a difference. And Cupid getting his beads expend and his ult, but Mordred under the tower, going to be a shutdown. I mean, it's a shutdown for both sides. Great, but I'm not sure if Midgod's too happy about making that trade right now, considering he was already down. But it looks like they might be hovering this gold. If they can get gold, it's worth it. If they can get gold, it's worth it. I mean, Order's just not even there to contest it. They're on the other side of the map. But Agni seems to know what's going on, kind of walking over. And Neath is not following him.
Yeah, the Agni trotting over here, but that is going to be an ult out of this Nemesis. She's going to make sure Nero isn't able to do anything about this. And that is going to be a gold fury for the Mystic Sea Serpents. Currently up in gold and looks like up in activity at the moment as well. A 2k gold lead for the Mystic Sea Serpents built entirely on Elo Terrorist's dominance in the solo lane.
Wrong team, but the exact right point, right? Nat20, huge gold lead, and I bet you almost the entirety of it is on top of this Mordred. It doesn't matter what stat you're swapping to right now, Mordred's on the top of the board. Gold, items, kills, levels. It just, he is constantly just beating Celestin right now.
Yeah, no. First off, thank you for the correction there. Very, very much needed. That is indeed Nat20 with Elo Terrace in the solo lane just dominating. Apparently, I don't know my team. Secondly, I mean, yeah, no, Nat20 have just been all over the place as far as activity. With Elo Terrace dominating the solo lane without help, it really frees up A1 to rotate through mid, rotate through duo, take his camps, and play the game at his pace. And when you're dominating the pace of playing a game, you are dominating the gold earnings. You're dominating. Yeah, they're not dominating the kills. It's 5-4, but you're dominating the fights. This is a very domineering approach right now from Nat20, but they have the early and potentially mid-game presence to be able to do so. I'm going to be very interested to see if they can keep this up through the late game, and it should, considering they should get
He
to
got
that
one.
late game stage, great bomb by Nero there as well. If and should, or if they do as they should and get to the late game early, it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle their late game. As something we talked about on the desk, ults traded between the two on her, not able to get a kill out of it though. Ares going to look 2 off as we continue to look around, see if anything can and or will develop. I mean, this being the Enkidu division, you would expect fights to develop not just shortly, but often.
Yeah, and I mean this game is kind of proving it. Maybe the kills don't reflect it. I mean, we're at 9 kills in 10 minutes. Let's not pretend this is a low kill game. Let me watch my mouth. But it is constantly battling. I mean, both ADCs full health. Your ADC's down 2 levels. What do? Okay, hey, I'm sending my Neath ult from my tier 2 tower. Get something for it, right? Unfortunately, we saw Cupid's turnaround damage of his one and his ult almost just killing on her outright, right? But get some pressure, right? Cupid's beads are down right now. Cupid's ult's down right now. And who did we see at the purple buff just waiting to see if they can get someone off of it? A1 and this Ganesha, right? So clearly trying to get Midgod some help here. But like you said, that's just what you get when your Mordred's this big, right? And looking at this team comp, I mean, if there's one guy that I am A-okay with being big right now, especially on the Nat20 side, it's Mordred, right? Hey, my Cupid's high level. That's great. My Mordred still out levels him. My Mordred still has more items, still has more gold, right? Like, it's a trade-off. You know what I mean? Like, hey, your backline's ahead. That's great. But the guy that I have diving him is even more ahead right now.
See, and the even bigger portion of that, the way we can really get into the nitty gritty here. This Cupid has Sunbeam Bow, Tearfing, and a stun here momentarily, but the On-Her is going to have to leave away. Beats expended by the On-Her. On-Her going to be running away here.
Oh,
Midgod trying to
Ganesh.
get out of dodge. Devo comes with a beautiful auto through the uprights to make sure Midgod goes down. But in comes Elo Terrace. The beads are going to be expended from the Pele this time, as Aerie is going to try and run
Yep.
after the Mordred, pulls the Mordred back in. All the stuns and CC are good, and Nero 5K going to be able to put down Elo Terrorist for his second death of the game.
Yeah, I'm a very big believer on, hey, man, if you're ahead, let's take some fights, right? But you've also, especially in solo lane, right? And I tell my backliners this often, I gotta have someone holding my leash, right? Like I gotta have someone that's telling me, hey, this is a bad idea. Someone needs to tell Elo, hey, man, you're up. That's great. But your nemesis is at the back camps next to his speed right now. You go in, you ult. There's nobody there. And now this Gold Fury
Speaking
fight.
of nobody there, Celestine ain't there anymore. Midgod able to put down the Odin for their 4th time of the
This could be
game. The
huge.
Nemesis is going to ult the Agni, and the
Oh, that's
Agni
big.
sees the grayscale. Over goes stop you. Well, they're going to be able to survive this
Cupid has
engagement.
to die. He has to die here. If you're Nat20, I'm willingly trading anyone to go into that Phoenix right now. Combined 70 health, maybe, between that Pele and Cupid, they have to die. They 100% have to die. It's a great fight for Nat20, But the difference between that being a great fight and a game turner is the fact that Cupid is still alive. You
At
did
the
all the
same
damage.
time,
That's great. He still got gold. He still lived. He's still on his way back up. Like it's rough. I mean, Nat20 still once again great fight. You get two, you get about three ults, you get almost every pair of beads that they had up. You get pyro. It's still a great play for Nat20, but if they got Cupid there, it's towers. It's a big push because Cupid's level 12 at this point. We're talking a 20-30 second death timer of just free reign.
yeah, and I mean as we were about to bring up, I mean this Cupid doesn't have the tank shred items online yet, but he does have the sunbeam bow. He does have this tier thing.
Yep.
He does have the buttons to say, "Hey, Anher, you have to look at me." And you know who else has
Here
to
they come
look at
again.
me? Here's the Mordred running at the Cupid yet again. The Cupid, well aware of the oncoming pressure, the oncoming threat this time, sitting at his tower line. In the meantime, Nat20 standing around, seeing if they can bait the Cupid out, unable to do so, as Ganesh is even trying to wander in behind the tier 1 tower.
The worst part about all of this is the Mordred rotation was and as we speak, Cafe getting absolutely ran at by this MSF's comp, going to be killed between his T1 and Tier 2. Three people there. They've got wards all over the place as far as this MSS side's concerned, right? I mean, obviously we can't see everyone's wards, or I think we can. Maybe they're the ones that are dimmed out. But Cafe clearly no idea that three players are there.
Yeah, no, I mean, the wards on the side of, to your credit, as Davo able
Oh,
to get out of dodge. Midgod tries to use the ult to buy themselves the kill, buy themselves the trade, not able to do it. Elo Terrace going to find a kill of their own. Another solo kill onto the Odin, who's just trying to catch up.
yeah, I mean, once again, Nat20 managing to trade these kills out, but we're kind of getting to the point now where is it worth trading Celestin in order to, like give Midgod some support here and get him online? Like, I know Cafe Cat died there, which is why the team rotates, right? And we're trying to get something out of it. But I mean, any character over there.
Elo.
Oh, Pele dies to
Ooh.
the tick. That's rough.
Yeah, Eloterra is going to find Pele with the Sunder in that regard. And now Eloterra's just gets bigger and bigger as the game goes along. And it looks like they're running headfirst in this kind of sustain lifesteal build between the Regrowth Striders, the Devourers Gauntlets, and just running at this Odin yet again, who cannot put any damage, any damage in the Mordred.
Yeah, I mean, look at their health bars right now. That's how that lane has felt this entire game. I mean, Elo just sprinting at Odin. Odin had that one chance at level 2 or 3 to kill Mordred. But just the innate pressure of that pick, just in general, is brutal to deal with from an even standpoint. Now you're asking an Odin, a team fight oriented god, to fight him 2 levels down at 050, not to mention whatever gold difference they have. There's no chance.
I'm gonna flatly state it this way. Asking Odin to kill the Mordred at the beginning of the game, with Mordred being a more ones oriented god than Odin wishes he could be, that's already a lot. Asking Odin to
Yep,
do it in this situation, it's not happening.
I agree.
You're going, this Odin, the number one thing that Celestine is probably worried about here is just, hey, I'm going to get to level 20. I'm going to be ready for this team fight.
That's
And
math.
Stoppy was ready for that ultimate, trading his own in exchange. Not something you usually want to do on the Ares, one of the biggest initiation ults in the entirety of Smite, not just Smite 2, but Smite history. But hey, when you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it. Ares ults, immediate turnaround for gold, right? Like, definitely something they're calming. Hey, let's get a pick. Let's get something. And then we're immediately looking at this gold. I know why MSS is here.
Oh,
It's because they're
up,
confident
down.
in Cupid, but
Up, down, there's the Odin Cage. There's the Fields of Love. Multiple stuns out from the Cupid. That's going to be a burned down Eloterrorist. Nero 5K going to be able to pick that one up on the back end. Celestine Wishes is incredibly low, but can they do anything about it? No, Nero 5K making sure to shut them down before they can get started. The Agni just too hot for Nat20 to handle. Nat20 is going to have to back away. The stun is going to be good, and the lockdown is better. Nero 5K for the triple kill as MSS take the Gold Fury.
yeah, talking about every lane but mid lane right now. Nero guy, universal first pick overall. Everyone knew he was going first. It just ended up that he ended up going to MSS instead. I mean, we haven't talked about him all game, but a way that you can get talked about real quick, drop a triple kill when your team is down 4K gold. That's a great way to remind people who you are, right? I mean, I was even talking about I don't know why MS is here. Your Ares ult's down, your Odin's under leveled, but I mean, just the damage that Nero put out there, and I mean the survivability that Stop You got out of his 3 completed items. I mean, it just all worked perfectly in that fight. I'm not sure if it's a disconnect with the front line and back line there. Maybe it's a target selection thing. But MSS ends up leaving with everyone just about half health, and Nat20 gets to leave with 3 people dead.
It looked like a little bit a disconnect between Game Over Me, Midgod, and Cafe Cat Art. Game Over Me, it looked like got a little bit separated from their two backliners, and I mean, when you get just a little bit separated, Odin can really take advantage of that space. Was able to do so, and to great effect. I mean, we highlight Nero for the 3 kills, but the real highlight of that fight was the Odin Cage.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in P's and B's, right? Odin Gage goes down, what immediately follows Fields of Love. And Midgod, high level at this point, even if he's not autoing you with all those auto attack items, his ult still hurts. It's still CC. You still can't get out, mentioned no shells. So the backliner leaps away. That's all well and good. Mordred has no ult. He's dead. Ganesh goes in by himself. He's dead. And then because Ares is low, they get super aggressive, try to dive in to kill an Ares, and they lose another person. Like, at some point, you've got to recognize, hey, my entire team right now is up. That's great. But my entire lead is on this Mordred. If my Mordred is dead, you are even or you are behind. You cannot fight that down 2 people.
If Mordred is dead, their team is behind, and now, that was already kind of the case. Now it's definitely the case. If Mordred is down, they're out. Period. End of statement. You cannot be fighting without your Mordred right here, right now. Never mind, he's gonna go in. That's a big stun out of the honor, and he does get it. Cafe going to find the kill actually onto the Cupid. The rotation there at the end as well. But MSS in exchange, they're going to take the Pyromancer. Midgod, not one to take a beating lightly, does step up and gets a bit of help from Cafe.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the Cupid, at least he got his beads still up. We didn't end up using those, but that's rough, man. Your entire team sitting at Pyro. Why are you at a tier 2 tower line, right? Davo had a great game so far, and I doubt that that's going to be the one play that flips this game on its head. Don't get me wrong, their team still got Pyro, still about to get these Nagas, but I mean, that's a rough spot to be, man. Maybe it's an ego thing. Maybe it's a, hey, every other fight has gone well when I've taken it. Why not? But that's going to be rough.
I mean, that's also a pretty normal play, though. On one side, your team's doing the pyro. On the other, you try and do the tower, try and knock down the tier 2. And lo and behold, the team here, Nat20, not electing to go defend the Pyromancer, instead electing to go kill the Cupid. And we'll see if that works out in their favor. Cupid, of course, was worth shutdown gold. So that is bonus gold the entirety of Nat20. And this game basically entirely equal here, 25 minutes in. I really do favor the team fight of MSS though.
I agree. I
As
think
Stop You gonna get in there, not able to pull anybody, but does expend a couple of pairs of beads. up, down, and dead. Elo Terra is going to find the gray screen, but I Mute Be Kind follows shortly behind. Jungler for solo. As this fight ensues, this fight continues, and Nero going to drop a couple of bombs, but not find anything from that. Has to back up alongside Celestine Wishes, who is not wishing for a fight right now, trying to heal up off of their healing chalice. In the meantime, trying to create a zone, staying close to their team as much as they
Celestine's
can.
looking the wrong way. Too late.
And Celestine, people are going to get in behind. They are currently surrounded on this Gold Fury. Is there anything they can do about it? The root is good, and the Dharmic Pillar is not going to be able to cage anyone in time. A1 going to fall first, as Stop You's going to pick up that one. Stop You going to pick up two, and the Ares is gaining ground. Cat not going to be able to get out of that one. The stun is good. The bombs are better, but Cafe Cat going to be able to backflip away as Midgod going to put the pillar up and make sure that Cafe Cat stays safe. No one's touching her, but everybody's touching the Gold Fury.
Yeah, and now we've got a Neathalt on to Stop You as they once again try to engage on this Gold Fury. Down 3 people. They're still trying to get in. It's going to be Pele's ult down. No, they didn't get it. MSS got it, yeah.
Yeah, that was a Gold Fury over to MSS here, but that is 2 kills, a Gold Fury going the way of MSS. But all of their ults now on cooldown. They are going to have to play back for at least a little bit here. A1, Elo, both come up with ults. Game Over Me is going to have their ult shortly if they don't already have it. And yep, indeed they do. Midgod has their ult back. So ult economy is not favoring MSS right now, who only have Davo and Celestine. But I mean, the more I think about it, it feels like just those 2 ults have them favored.
Yeah, I mean, 3 separate Gold Fury or Gold Fury area fights take place there, right? And all 3 of them highlight exactly what we said last fight. Nat20 is attacking 3 separate directions at the same time, which is great if you're ahead and if your front line can survive. The last 4 fights have not gone their way now. Elo is down. Like, at this point, Elo is down in gold. I don't even need to check the graph to know that. He's down in gold right now. And it's rough because they keep acting like he's huge, which is great, but you'll keep losing the fight because of it. At the Harpy fight, we've got 2 people in gold pit, we've got 2 people next to mid lane, and then we've got a guy in Harpies. Elo dies. And now there's another fight, and they're split, but it looks like it may end up going their way. I'm Mute Be Kind, getting absolutely bursted. Odin Cage is down, Ares ult is down, Dynamic Pillars by the Ganesh is down, Elo gets traded for it. But, I mean, once again, we're so split. We've got 3 people at Pyro taking a fight right now. Look where my Honor's at. Look where my Nemesis is at.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is one of those times where, I mean, you look around the map, your ADC trying to farm, your jungler trying to farm. In the meantime, what do? We take a fight. Why? I don't know. Because we can? Instead, I mean, there's a double root at a cat as they try and stop this fire giant from being taken. But this fire giant will go down, will be on the side of MSS, and that will be fire giant on the belt of 4 for the Mystic Sea Serpents, as on her doing really the smartest possible thing in this situation and just making sure it's pushed up as far as he can.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're getting to the point where Nat20 feels like they need to make hero plays. We're down 5k, man. Just slow down a little bit. We've gone from up 4 or 5k to now down 4 or 5k, and we're losing the fights the exact same ways to the exact same things. We're overextending. We're not focusing on targets. I mean, MSS is a team fight comp, so not only are they naturally going to have an advantage because of all the alt combinations that they have, but they're just playing better together. Like, regardless of individual talent, regardless of where the gold's at, every time we fight, MSS is 4 or 5 man, and they're all within 5-10 steps in game from each other. Elo can't dive it.
The positioning here at MSS has been stellar, and the way you handle that is by coordinating your dive better, really. I mean, we say, well, Elo can't dive it. Well, that's because Elo's trying to dive it alone. He needs A1 to back him up. The problem is A1 needs to farm in order to back him up. So we're at a bit of an impasse here for Nat20, who really, I don't see a way forward in the immediate moment for Nat20. They need to buy themselves some time to get some farm, and honestly, as crazy as this sounds, they're already there. A Gold Fury might help, but they have to survive the fight after anyway, and Elo Terrace and A1 are down. In the meantime, on her trying to back, Ganesh trying to back, but it is too little, too late. Nat20 have lost their solo side bird.
I mean, I understand the call of trying to trade Gold Fury for it, but if we know we're trading a Gold Fury for Bird, man, why do we have 2 people dying for Bird? You haven't won a 5v5 in 15 minutes. Why do you think you can win 3v5s? And now Nero getting absolutely insane damage onto this backline. Both of them one shot. Phoenix going down as well. Game over. The only person standing between the backline and Dive goes down. On her going to die. And the Titan is going to follow quickly after. 28-minute
the Titan
game.
currently melting as the dagger gets burned for a little bit of extra damage, and they try and walk over to kill off Cafe Cat so that she can't defend, but Titan going to fall very, very quickly under all that pressure, and started off a little bit scrappy, but ended out a very, very clean game from MSS.
Yeah, and I mean, this screen right here with the items and the gold difference tells it all, right? Elo Terrace was our top gold in hand, top gold period, by 1,000 at the 3-minute mark. Look where he's at now. He's third on his own team. Not to mention that he is below every single person on MSS. This was a team that up until 8 minutes before end was ahead. But when you can't take just comprehensive team fights together, it just falls apart, right? MSS, not only did they fight better, but they drafted for the fight better. So all these fights just turning into landslide victories. I mean, you can only be decided so many times before the game's over.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's not a shadow of a doubt about that. One thing I definitely want to see changed going into game number 2 is get Celestine. It's not even Celestine per se. Get them off the Odin, get them off the Cupid, and get them off the Ares. Yes, that opens up the 3 picks that they had previously banned, but you gotta make them change their comp. And if they're gonna go for something meta, at least force them into a pick-oriented strategy so that they're not playing a team-centric comp that is clearly what they want to do.
Yeah, definitely may want to look at some P's and B's again, but I think at the end of the day, even if we ban all 3 of those team fight alts and we don't get punished for swapping bans, Nat20's just got to fight his 5. They've got to figure out how to do it. They've got to figure out what that looks like for them. And they've kind of got to do it fast because, I mean, even if I'm putting MSS on a pick comp right now, with the way that game just looked, I still trust them to win the 5v5, even if they don't draft for it. Their positioning's great. Their awareness from their support stop you. I mean, he's engaging in some fights because they're up, and then other fights, I mean, he's sitting right there in the middle of the pack. Whenever the dive comes in, he's ulting to get them off. I mean, there's just a lot of value that Stop You's getting. It's almost like they're doing like an composition, right? You've got your 2 frontliners in the back, you've got your support right there in the middle by himself, and then your 2 backliners. And Stop You is playing insanely well in this formation. And Elo definitely felt that on some of those dives. A1 did, I'm sure, as well on a few of his wraparounds. But it's got to be cleaned up, right? Ares is not the peel power of, like a Ganesh or a Geb or any of these other heavy CC gods. We've got to be able to dive. You have to be able to dive, and they were not able to do that game.
Well, you heard it here first. Stop You being the best midfielder in this game. And don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to kick it to a break, but we'll be back here shortly for game number 2. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It's Mechanus, it's Airborne, it's Yami in the camera, and we're getting ready for game number 2. And something we were talking about on the desk as we were on break there is the number of wards being placed. You brought it up as we were talking, Airborne, but dive comps want to know where their opponent is and want to know what lanes they can get through without being seen. And one of the best items you can get to help your team do that as a support is the Eye of Providence. I mean, you get it early. It's 25 each prot, so you're not really worried about like taking too much from either side. You get 250 health, but the real meat and potatoes of this item, those of you who played Smite 1 in the ye olden days of like season 0 and season 1 might remember an item called Midas shoes. Those very quickly got removed from the game because of how much gold they gave you. And it really was realized when the SPL they ran 10 Midas shoes. And a couple of weeks later, Hi-Rez said, and we don't like this item. Wonder why? Gold generation is insane. Well, how does Eye of Providence help with vision and get compared to Midas shoes? Because you get a free sentry ward every minute, and every time you clear a ward, you get the standard 50 gold reward and a bonus 50 gold. So you could argue that every minute the item's giving you 220 gold.
Yeah, not only that, also something that we talked about off stream, right? I mean, both teams drafted very different identities. We had the MSS team fight comp, and then we had a very pick slash dive oriented comp out of Nat20. And one of the biggest friends of being a diver is knowledge, right? I got to know where their backline's at. I got to know where their peel's at. I got to know all this stuff. But if I'm being outwarded across the entire board, I have no knowledge. How many times does Mordred ult searching for a backliner and then he ends up hitting Ares? How many times do you have to go through a wall as Mordred just so you can figure out where your dive comp is? And trying to coordinate that with someone like the Nemesis or an A1 who also has no idea where they're at, there's no way you can successfully dive. Or I mean, you can. Don't get me wrong, but you're doing it on luck and skill. And MSS drafting the way that they did and stop you playing the way that he did, you're gonna need a whole lot of luck and a whole lot of skill. And just that time didn't end up working out.
I mean, you say luck and skill. At that point, the way that that draft was built, you weren't going to get in on luck, and you would have had to be so utterly above this MSS team with that team comp that if they had made that work, I would be making claims that they shouldn't even be in this league.
I agree. I mean, we'd have to be at a point where because the dive can't be coordinated like that. So either A1's got to be able to 1v3 and just hope the other two guys don't turn around, or Elo's got to do the exact same thing. And they didn't, just to put bluntly. But I mean, that's why that's why league balancing is a thing. If we had guys down here that could do that, like you said, they probably don't belong down here. But now we're going into P's and B's. Nat20 gonna take the first pick this time, and waiting to see what their first band's gonna be, and it is going to be that Ares. So, like you said, showing a little bit of respect to the players that just kind of gave us some problems, and then MSS following up with the Sunwoo, their same band from game one.
I don't even think it's truly respect to the players. Like, obviously, they played the picks well, they piloted the picks very, very well. But there's a reason that Ares right now is considered, by and large, by far, not even close, the top support in all of Smite. Brings some of the hardest lockdown in Smite with his 8-second cripple on a standard rotational ability. He's got some just insane sustain on his 2 if he's not going aspect. He just adds 20 health per second to his health bar over the course of 6 seconds every 7 seconds. Like, it's insane. As Odin going to be banned away by Nat20 here, or not Nat20, excuse me, banned away by MSS. They don't want to give up the same thing that they were doing to Nat20, and I think that's actually really smart.
Well, still hovering it, so it looks like they might be having some discussion. But I mean, Nat20 still following through on a hey, let's get rid of some of the CC, getting rid of the Humbots again, and they are really debating this Odin ban, but going to be locked away, just like you said. I mean, if the Odin went well for you and you thought he was first pick worthy, I mean, they probably think the exact same thing. So if you like what it did for you, you probably won't like it if it's reversed. Going ahead and getting rid of him, and now MSS waiting on their third to round out this ban stage, seeing if they follow through on this all team fight god banning list. But a lot of picks still open. The Nem at Kali was going to be the next name that I mentioned, getting rid of her as well.
There are a lot of really good picks left on the board. Tsukiyomi comes to mind. Hu Yi comes to mind. Soul has a lot of damage and is very easy to play, but I wouldn't have thought necessarily ban worthy. However, Illuterra is going to get their hands on the Tsukiyomi. I don't know if this is going to go
The
solo,
moon will purify
mid, or
this
jungle.
land.
Time to burn.
Yeah, going to get the Tsukiyomi. I mean, like you said, insane role flexibility. But looking at the picks that MSS is getting right now, man, I'm not sure if it's worth it. Nero getting back onto the Agni that he just had a 7-1 and Lord knows how many assist performance on. And they're getting the Cupid again for Dave, deciding not to get the Ho Yi after hovering it for a while. Either way, Dave had a pretty good Cupid game, so not sure if I'm happy about him getting that again. But looking at the bans that you did, what else are you willing to give up for it, right? That's the thing about Smite 2 with those 3 bans. Something's got to get through. Like, we're at the point now where there's more than 30 gods, so playable characters and good characters getting through for both sides, and still quite a few up for MSS to take here at 4-5.
This is the part where I push my glasses up the bridge of my nose and go, at this point, there are 67 gods in Smite 2. No, but in reality, yes, there are 67 gods in Smite 2. With 6 bans, there's just so much left.
Get to the
Something's going to get
chaka!
through, and in this case, Cupid Agni, of course, fall through, and a lot of times right now, that's kind of what's seen as the benefit of being second pick, right? Like, yeah, you give them the top pick, but you take 2 and 3 right after them, and if you're right, you're probably better. Well, the other side of the coin, the other problem is in a lot of ways, people think that bans are very one note right now. You got to ban the Kali, you got to ban the Wukong, you got to ban the Odin, you got to ban the Soul, you got to ban the this, you got to ban that. Just figure out what's good for your team, and in this case, it's a Yamoja Kabrakan.
Tremble beneath the waves
for MSS.
Yeah, remember that the Emotion was banned. Kabrakan, I want to say, was up. They didn't take it. Went with the Odin instead, right? Like you said, you get rid of one wall, you get another one, or one cage, you get another cage, right?
Yep.
But I mean,
In this
still,
case too.
I mean, Celestin following that same philosophy of, hey, I'm gonna have really good team fight presence, but on top of that, Kabrakan a lot better in lane for those 1v1s as well. A lot of stuns to just punish trades.
I am the
And it's going to be
shoguness
an
of
Izanami.
sorrow.
I was not. If you had asked me what carry that Midgod was going to pick here, it wasn't that one. I was thinking Bari, but then I saw the cages. Is like, okay, maybe not. I was thinking Ho Yi. I mean, maybe even on her again if you liked that matchup, even if it didn't go your way that time. But Geb Izanami probably would have been towards the very bottom of any of my predictions that are going to go there. And it looks like Fenrir being hovered now.
Those two gods have such bad synergy, I'm going to call it anti-synergy. Geb does not synergize with Izanami at all. Izanami wants to get lane pressure. She wants to clear the wave really, really fast and then out-trade and out-poke the enemy carry. Geb does not give a dang about wave pressure. Just could not care less. To be fair, I mean, you can listen to Geb's voice lines. He's about as carefree as they come. But does not care about wave pressure. Does not care about poke. The only thing he cares about is knocking up the opponent, and protecting his carry. 2 and 3 are going to be the most important tools that he has at any point in the laning phase. But what I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on, because anybody can use a cone, anybody can use a point and click. How does Game Over Me use these rollouts? If he's able to get aggressive with these rollouts and knock Davo back into the waiting arms of Midgod, or knock Stop You back into the tower, if/when they might end up taking pressure in the duo lane, because I do feel like Yamoja Cupid brings more pressure than negative synergy Geb Iza. But as much as they have negative synergy, Geb actually has the tools to take pressure back should they step up just a little too far. So this lane, in my opinion, it's up to whether Game Over Me can draw that line in the sand and say, you shall not pass this line.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you said, interested to see how it goes out. But already some interesting changes here. Support and solo this time going Shell. We get one on the Chalk, we get one on the Geb. So a little bit help for our back line. No leaps or anything like that for them at this point. Izanami could get out, but not our poor little Merlin. And honestly, I don't hate the Shell pick. I really don't. I think that it was clear that they were punished by Odin Cage plenty of times. I am A-okay with that swap. But one thing that is going on with this Nat20 draft right now, looking at that side of things, who are you beating? Gabalt, maybe? Chalk Silence, maybe? But I mean, MSS just said no, they won't be beating anything, and has gone 2 Aegises on our back line and 3 Sunders.
Yeah, so late game, MSS have the clear cut advantage when taking any fight around an objective. This is a very, very scary game right now for the side of Nat20. Currently, if I had to grade their relics, I would grade Nat20 as having rolled a natural 1.
Yeah, it just, I mean, obviously they can't see each other's relics, right? Don't get me wrong, but if I'm MSS right now, not that I'm kicking myself, but the fact that the enemy team just has no secure, I'm not sure if we needed all 3 Sunders, but man, do we have secure, right? Like, they don't have an ability that stops you from just triple sundering at 1500. They have nothing that can match you.
They can do more than that. They can triple bomb, triple sunder. They can
Yeah.
do any number of things to secure an objective here. It's crazy the options that MSS have at their disposal. Celestine wishes not having a lot of options at their disposal right now. Dropped to about half HP in a fight with Eloterrorist on the shock, and both getting pretty low here. Normally, fake damage in the solo lane, but this could actually be very real damage as Celestine gonna have to back off and let their pots do the ticking.
It looks like Nat20 is getting the, I don't want to say pressure in duo lane that we talked about with this, Izanami on the other side and waiting to see how it goes. I mean, Izanami pulls that, but the moment that MSS like pulled up, immediate drop.
I mean, just good vision right now already out of MSS as Shock is just shoving Celestine under tower. Yet again, Eloterra is just terrorizing Celestine in this solo lane as Cafe Cat trying to get some farm. Do they know the Fen is coming in behind? Doesn't seem like it. The leap
Good
is
flicker.
there, but Flicker is way too quick. And
yeah, that's just really good reactions from Cafe there. Positioned, luckily, to where the Fenrir was coming. Thankfully, not coming from behind him. But now it looks like Elo may even get the solo here on Celestin. Just needs a little bit more. Going to pick up the first blood and get a little bit of advantage in solo once again. Let's see if they, push it a little bit better. A1 already at these fire creeps trying to push that little advantage in solo to transition already. And it looks like you said Geb Izanami, just no pressure. As much as Izanami would love to have some right now, just not looking like it.
yeah, no, and people want to make fun of Capri. It's like, oh, he's got the worst pressure in Smite. That goes to Geb. I love Capri. I love Geb. I love these. I don't like seeing A1 take that much damage from the Agni. Agni dash is pretty insane. Again, going back to these supports, I love both these supports. I love the kind of like backline peelers, make my team better around me. Kind of supports where my entire job is to enable my team. Much like Celestine would hope to enable themselves here. Celestine trying to run away, slow immune in the one, stun not going to connect, and 120 extra damage for their trouble, for their efforts, as Celestine gonna have to back to base. And we talked about it already last game, but when you back once, it's fine. Having to back again, rough. And rough indeed, as Fenrir decides to chomp down Elo Terrace, and the stuns are going to be good, but the tower is even better. Celestine credited for the kill on that one.
As much as it would have been nice for Mute to get that kill is massive for Celestine. Going ahead and getting the revenge gold, as well as, like we talked about earlier, those couple extra seconds before Elo can TP back up. On top of that, we got a successful gank in solo that went MSS's way, but we also just have unlimited pressure in the duo lane as well. So, yay, we got the turnaround kill on solo. Maybe Celestine gets a little pressure there, but your duo is already at their tower line. So if you can get pressure in solo, you just control both side lanes. I mean, that's just the jungler's dream, isn't it?
It really is. No, the jungler's dream, of course, would be like, oh, I came in, I got all these kills, and a lot of the time it requires your opponent to have pressure and be at your tower so that you can rotate in and freely, run them down. They don't have too much time on their hands. They got to try and run, and they just have too far to go. But in this case, here we are. The rollout attempted, not going to find it. The stuns are good, and the walls are better. Beautiful Yamoja ult out to stop you, and that's going to ensure that him and the Cupid get away. Thought momentarily there that the Tsukiyomi A1 might have been able to find something, not quite. Elo Terrorist terrorizing Celestine yet again. Too much damage out of the shock, and even more out of the Tsukiyomi. Picks up Devo comes, but I Mute Be Kind is going to pick up Mid God in return. A1 trying to fight Mute. And it looks like the Fenrir will eventually just take too much damage trying to run after. Will find A1. The Brutalize not going to find its mark. A1 shelled and good to go. Fenrir going to be set down, and A1 going to back alongside the Geb, who does have to roll away. Stop you, able to get the stun on the rollout. Game over, trying to walk away. Stop you, not going to let them do so for free. Eventually, Shot comes over and says, hey, buddy, leave that Geb alone.
Yeah, I mean, Geb had, and I want to preface this, Geb had his shell that entire time. The moment Yemo ults, Geb needs to pop Phantom Shell. Because it's the difference between I have to kill him at their backs, or I have to kill them, or I get to kill them in lane, right? Tsukiyomi stopped by the Umoja walls, and I'm guessing, Geb probably just thought, oh, Cupid's going to walk through these walls. Tsukiyomi's ult will follow him. Maybe so, maybe not, right? But he has Shell. Cupid dies right there if Tsukiyomi gets to go through those walls. He doesn't. They get to chase up to the neutral, or not neutrals, but the back camps. They end up getting the kill anyway. They even got Fenrir out of it, so it's hard to be too mad, right? Elo with a great rotate there. And Celestine not really punishing him for it. I mean, Chalk's back camps are still up. I mean, they got the gold camp, I guess, but Elo got a kill, so Elo's just happy with that, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, Elo up 2 levels right now, has their entire first item in the Sanguine Lash. I'm Mute Be Kind, hovering around here in the mid lane as Tsukiyomi and Geb are tied together at the hip, but walking off toward the Tsukiyomi they just saw, as we do see A1 backing.
Yeah, we talked about ward coverage before game one, and oh my god, Davo getting a maybe 100 HP solo on mid god. There goes all the advantage you had from the gank. It's gone now. Davo's up again. But we're talking about wards. The only person who knew that Fenrir was there was Fenrir. Tsukiyomi had no clue. Walked across him, and his gank gets called out before he even gets halfway to the lane he's looking at. Now Elo and Celestin going to trade a little bit. Neither of them committing their ults, but they are getting low, and they can now. Celestin's going to ult, but it's still so close. It ends up going to Chalk, but it's immediately traded out by the archers. All those circles, the archers get to stay alive and trade out the Chalk. So Celestin gets the revenge gold and gets the kill. Chalk gets the kill, but I mean, is it worth trading out when I'm already up? Geb ult, Tsukiyomi ult, Cupid going to Aegis, and he does end up dying eventually to Tsukiyomi's one, but now they're so close to the tower line. Fenrir going to ult the Geb, take him under tower, and he's gone before he can be dropped.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just... Hi, welcome to Fenrir. How are you? The stun going to be used. The brutalize is even better. Can A1 get out? I highly doubt it. As I Mute Be Kind will pick up the kill. This is a 3-on-2 now. Cafe trying to walk away. And Yamoja not going to be able to pull them back in. So, I mean, here we are.
Yeah, talking more about wards, Merlin there a little late. Fenrir gets to live for it unless he walks up and dies now. But looks like he's going to be fine. I mean, that's the difference right there. Merlin 3 or 4 steps and it ends up being a jungle for a jungle. Instead, a jungle for absolutely nothing in that secondary fight. They did get the Cupid, though. Hard to be mad about trading an ADC for a jungle, but rough knowing that, you know, one extra person there to hit one ability and Fenrir also goes down.
Yeah, no, I mean, on top of that, you know, it's how to put it, right? It's crazy the kind of things you can really see in terms of damage dealt, especially when a team is behind. A lot of the time, a team will fall behind. You lose faith in the amount of damage you can deal, and you don't take an additional step that you should, or you take an additional step back that you shouldn't, and you drop those kills that you should still be able to get, which puts you even further behind. MSS, they've got to find their footing, or this is going to be all for naught, too little, too late.
Yeah, I mean, to get rid of some of the doom and gloom, because I've kind of been harping on Nat20, but I'm also on the Nat20 Gilga team, so obviously I want to see them win, you know, caster's bias, right? At the end of the day, we're in an equal gold state, right? Like, this is not an unwinnable or definitely losable game. Like, any team could take it at this point, and the fact that MSS is pulling this Gold Fury here, I mean, this is a crucial fight. Both sides committing 4 people to it. Chalk rotating over on a late teleport as well, but Tsukiyomi already going in and ult. Ult's being dropped all over the place. Midgod going to get the Gold Fury, but now everyone else is low health. This is going to result in a whole lot more if people don't start getting out, but now Davo walking forward with Sunbeam, and they end up trading each other. I mean, this is huge for Nat20. If Yemo dies as well, this just gets even worse for MSS, but it looks like they're going to get out. Oh, never mind. Chalk trying to chase, just not going to be able to catch up to the Riptide. Little does he know if he hits an axe over the wall on any of them, they're probably dead. Cabra on the late rotation, going to kind of get rid of some of the pressure here as he walks out. Fenrir as well, but not going to look to engage. Cafe Cat lurking around the corner on this Merlin. And now it looks like Nat20 is going to pick up this Pyro.
Yeah, Nat20 picking up the Pyro here. As Geb gonna roll in. He's gonna try and zone here, actually, as Elo Terrace is still tanking up this Pyromancer. We got Fenrir on the other side in the grass, but Nat20 aware of the Fenrir, as Tsukiyomi going to leap away with the help of the Wind Sprite out of the grass. And now the Pyro picked up by MSS here. The Heart Bomb is good. The damage is coming through as Agni Bombs are going to be expended. That's 1, that's 2. Can we get a third? Davo going to take the Pyromancer as A1 trying to walk away, able to do so. The wall's not quite in position. The stun is good. The slow or the movement speed steal going to be just enough out of A1 to help game over me, get him out of there. And Elo Terrace will pick up that kill, but it is a 3 for Pyromancer trade out of MSS.
Yeah, not only, I mean, this is the problem with late rotations and counter rotations, right? Because if you get kills, it's a counter rotate and it's great. If you don't, then it's late and you're awful, right? Celestin rotates late to that gold, ends up being able to buy a little bit of space for his team to reset. They push Nat20 off of the Pyro, immediately pick it up the moment Nat20 starts looking. I mean, I don't think Nat20 knew what was going on until it reached about 3-4K. And then Nat20 walks in. Okay, cool. We got Pyro, but Chalk on a late rotate to the back line. I mean, he gets 2 kills before Celestin even knows that they're diving alone now because their entire team is running for their lives. Game Over had insanely good peel. Well, I won't say insanely, but he had amazing peel on this Kabrakan, able to spare the life of his squishy. And not only that, Chalk comes back down and kills Kabrakan afterward.
Yeah, no, just really, really, I mean, it was a clean fight out of MSS. There's no other way to look at that. If they can keep this up throughout the duration of the game, this game could be theirs, and that's both ults using Mid-God. Gonna out-trade Davo comes. Both players tried to use their lockdown ultimates, but only one could get the lockdown out of it. Mid-God saving his beads for the Fields of Love.
Yeah, I mean, Mid-God walks into that, maybe a half level up on Davo, but being able to peel his ult, being able to use his own beads, which I guess that's like the one disadvantage, right? Is that Davo didn't use Aegis, Mid-God used beads. That's all well and good. Mid-God's been down this entire time until that moment because of the way that that Pyro fight went. He comes back to lane, gets the solo as well. I mean, his lane went from I am behind to I am ahead. And that's awesome. He has to be a little wary because obviously, you know, 1 kill doesn't exactly mean you run the game, right? But 2-level lead now, just, I mean, once Cupid's Cupid's Aegis is down, I mean, he's killable. And that's probably the first time we've been able to say that this entire set.
I mean, it's definitely the first time this entire set. I'm hoping it won't be the last, as Davo, the ult still on cooldown for him. So as another fight looking to break out, here's A1 goes in, but bombs are going to put him down. So a little bit questionable of an engage there, but Elo Terrace now wants a piece. Game Over Me wants a piece. Cafe Cat wants a piece. And they are piecing up MSS right now. MSS, everybody but I'm Mute Be Kind with low health bars. So Nat20 lose A1, but gain an entire fight advantage. And Elo Terrace trying to do the Naga here on the side of the Gold Fury. Maybe using as a bit of a distraction, dives into the back line of MSS. Mid-God picks up the ADC yet again. 2 more low health bars. Mid-God with a double. Can he go further? The stuns are good out of Nero, but the leaps are even better. Can Elo keep up? Never mind. Nero going to be able to get away on the Agni, and that is going to be a Gold Fury going the way of Nat20.
Yeah, first fight starts with a little bit of disconnect from the dive. A1 going in with his ult, ends up being picked for it. Great follow-up fight by the rest of Nat20 there. But we talked about target selection and a little bit of miscommunication. There was none of that in that Gold Fury. The moment Chalk hit someone with their axe, Chalk's on the left side, zoning 2, 3, 4 people, however many it was. And then everyone else is just sitting on top of this Geb. Or not this Geb, excuse me. This Cupid trying to get that kill down, trying to get Cabra, just one after the other. Health bars going from 100 to 0. Fenrir actually made a play, got someone in his ult, and Agni was able to drop all 3 bombs on everyone on Nat20 besides Chalk, but he just doesn't have the items yet. This is not the same Agni that we had at the end of the game where bombs were borderline one-shotting backline. They're not online. So, yes, we hit the exact combo we're looking for, but it's too early. They do not get the misplay factor out of it because there's just not enough damage now. Nat20 steamrolls that fight, gets both objectives, gets a pyro. This went from an even game 3 minutes ago to a 7K lead for Nat20 here.
I mean, it goes to show MSS is trying to play it like this is the back end of game 1 rather than mid section of game number 2, and they pay a hefty toll for their sins of assuming this game was over.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough one, man. Like, we get the A1 pick. Our health bars are looking good. You think this fight's going to go great. Celestin had I want to say, borderline perfect wraparound on the back end, but it's just, no one's killing this Chalk. He cannot be killed right now by their backline. So if you can't kill a frontliner, that means you can't reach the backline. Midgod, like you said, getting a double. I think he may have no, he got a double. But I mean, just the damage that you're able to output when there's no one in your face feels pretty nice. Merlin getting to do the exact same thing, only one kill, sure, but he's got 8k damage right now, and I bet you 4 of it was done in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, Midgod currently working with the equivalent of the 2014 Dallas Cowboys offensive line here at the moment. I mean, Elo Terrorist just will not go away. It is a thorn in the side of Nat20 right now, refusing to be silenced, refusing to be pulled out, refusing to do anything but cause pain and misery for the Mystic Sea Serpents. And just, we see the result. It's clear as day.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's a rough one, man. Like we said, and like I said, like, it starts off so well, but you can't kill this Chalk right now. And if Chalk gets to stand on top of you, I mean, look at his items. He's doing more damage from being near you than with his abilities at this point. But if you can't kill him, it adds up. We're talking 70, 80, 100 damage a second of him just sitting on top of your backline. No one can get him off. No one can kill him. And now we're going on another engage. Agni going to use his Aegis, but it doesn't matter when all the damage is waiting for you. Stop you immediately next on the board, along with this tower. And MSS probably giving this tier 2 tower as well. Fenrir running away for his life. Cupid is split pushing, so maybe we get to trade tier 2s for tier 2s. But that's another 2 people dead. That's another 2 towers gold, or 2 towers worth of gold going to this Nat20 team. The lead continues, and not only that, but they're looking at a Phoenix as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not trading tier 2s for tier 2s. Not when it happens as fast as it does. The bird melting quickly as well, as Celestine has to slowly walk away, is able to make it out. Game over me. Not looking great right now. The beads expended on multiple players, and there are many low health bars on the side of Nat20. Rolling a Nat20 to get the heck out of dodge. The escape artist check succeeds, and they're able to get away.
Yeah, Nat20 to get away. Unfortunately, like maybe a 5 or a 6 on killing the Phoenix and Celestin. Both of them getting one shot. Either one dying probably guarantees the other, but unfortunately both get to live super low HP. Cupid finally gets to get back there, gets his ult down, and just signals to Nat20, hey, let's full disengage. But like you said, I mean, everyone gets out. No miscommunications like we saw in game 1. It looking a lot better these last 6-7 minutes, and that gold lead's kind of reflecting it. But MSS pulling this Gold Fury now, and Nat20 has absolutely no idea that this is going on, so it's going to be uncontested.
Yeah, I mean, they figured it the hard way just there as it got called out by the in-game announcer there, as the Ancient Fury going to be the next thing on the board in that side of the map. That being said, a Fire Giant is available whenever these two teams decide to go for it. Is on them. I'm assuming, however, that we should have a fight here in the next, I don't know, 15 to 20 seconds to determine who gets the Fire Giant. There anything you're looking for any of these players to add to their builds?
Right now, I'm looking for Agni to get some pen online or something. I mean, Cupid's got the Titan's Bane. He's probably going into like an XE or something like that next. Don't get me wrong. He's getting there, right? And this Chalk, every item that's built at this point, a little bit more vulnerable. But, I mean, with the levels the way that they are right now and the builds the way that they are right now, I mean, you see Elo, absolutely no CC, but just with presence, he's zoning the entire MSS squad until there's 4 of them to walk forward.
Yeah, I mean, look at how much healing he has out of his items, out of his movement speed. I mean, out of his abilities. Like, dude is playing out of his mind and just cannot die. The amount of healing he's getting is actually just absurd. Goes in, creates so much space. The Stormcaller not going to find anybody because of the dashes. but neither is the Fields of Love, not able to find a target. Rivers Rebuke, however, is going to be able to find 3 targets, locks 3 people in, but it doesn't matter. 2 kills go the way of Nat20, who roll a 15 on this fight, but they're going in anyway. Midgod able to pick up Stop You for the double kill of his own. A1 trying to pick one up. The Cafe Cat gonna come in from the side and make sure no one else on their team falls. But
yeah, talking about, well, never mind.
Nero
Stop you going back
trying
in,
to find
maybe training this
somebody.
Merlin.
Woo! Cafe Cat
my God.
got out with literally 20 HP to her name. I don't know how much closer you can cut it. A1 tries to lazy back, unable to do so. The Sanguine Lash is good. Who's going to win the fight? And it's A1 taking out Nero. K5 deicide for Nat20 and a natural 1 rolled by the Sea Serpents.
Absolute worst 50-50 that Nero possibly could have gotten there. One more passive tick killed Cafe. One more anything killed Cafe. Cafe gets out with 20 health. Then you go on the Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi also lives with 80 health. The worst coin flip that he could have possibly gotten. Both of them live. He dies. Deicide. Fire Giant's pulled. Stop You's walking in, but I mean, they've got 3 Sunders. There's a chance. Stop You gets it.
Stop You gets the Fire Giant, and they take the fight after. They kind of have to. They're trapped in here. Stop You trying to run away, but Devo comes, ensures they get 1. Game Over Me is going to find Stop You in the return, but it's too much damage for Nat20 to push any further. Elo Terra's trying to make their way in. The healing is good, but now MSS, they have the healing to match the shock.
Yeah, I mean, Nat20 making the smart decision there, not chasing the kills. Hey, let's go ahead, let's get out. We know they're regenning health. We got our 2 picks, or 1 pick. No, there was 2. I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind here. But we got our 2. Is it worth it? Absolutely not. But, I mean, like we mentioned, hey, you got 3 Sunders. They only had to use, well, never mind. Fenrir used it, but he didn't get it. Yamoja got it, I'm pretty sure, with her 1. So, I mean, we talked about having secure. I mean, Nat20's got great burn, amazing burn with Merlin and Izanami. That's all they've got, though. There's no secure on this team. Chalk is huge, sure. His ult hits for 400. We have none. Izanami ult? You can't compete with 3 Sunders. You can't compete with Yemo ult or Agni bombs. Like, these are things that you can't 50-50. It has to be a fight.
Speaking of a fight, A1 putting down the Caltrops as the Cabrakan walks right through them, takes 300 damage just off Caltrops. And here it is. That's going to be Devo comes. He's going to take the Gold Fury here. And that is a lot of damage pumped the way of Nat20, but they take the kill. Celestine killed off Nero K5 and Devo alongside them. 5-on-2 now as Nat20, they march on through that left tower. The Rivers Rebuke not going to find anybody, trying to hit it through the wall, over the wall, if you will, but not going to find anything. Game Over Me has to back up and instead going to fall to the tower. Midgod going to take that down, but now Elo Terrace is going to be holding on to this tower for as long as they can. They've got the dagger to help them out. The up-down from the Fenrir is good. The Brutalize gets stopped by the stun from the Tsukiyomi. The Sunder used to try and help out the Fenrir, and I mute be kind. Manages to get it. Cafe Cat going to make sure the Fenrir falls. Midgod gonna take down the bird. Cafe Cat trying to make sure that this mid-bird goes down. Is able to do so with the in-hand polyprocs of the Merlin. But Nat20, they're going to have to back away here. They lose 2 members on the attack, but we're able to get that opening thanks to their ability to turn a team fight that looked like they had no business being in it one moment, and then the next, they just ran it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of events by MSS where they think they're doing the best thing available, but because they end up doing it, it makes the next thing even easier for Nat20. Yemo throws the walls, or the waves, excuse me, over the wall, tries to peel out that Fenrir. Okay, well, now it's down for this Phoenix defense. Guarantees that they're going to get this left Phoenix. Tsukiyomi all-ins Fenrir. He's able to trade it with the Sunder, don't get me wrong. Fenrir dying there, though, guarantees that Nat20 gets the mid-bird. Like, we all in to secure Gold Fury, and we lost 3 people for it, which guarantees that we're going to get Phoenix pushed. It's just a series of events that led to one more thing every time going into the favor of Nat20. I think they played the fight extremely well. I think they were able to know when to back out. Like, hey, we got the second Phoenix, but everyone's up now. It's time to run for our lives. Get a pyro on the way out, because why not? Now you've got 5 full health level 20s outside of Geb, with level 16. But now we're getting to the point where everyone's got their starters, and you look across the board. Not so the case with MSS. So Nat20 on a huge power spike right now. Waiting to see how they end up doing it. You got one in mid getting wrapped on by the entire MSS roster. And Yemo gonna ult, Fenrir going to ult, going to get the beats from Tsukiyomi, and he's trying to ult for CC immunity and some damage, but he's going to die. But the rest of Nat20 is in right lane pushing Phoenix.
Nat20 is in right lane pushing Bird. In the meantime, you had 4 there trying to take on A1. And while they do succeed in getting the kill, Nat20 are going to take a tower. So on one hand, gold for the 4 members that are there. On the other, gold for all 5 members of Nat20 who just continue pushing this lead. They're going to wait around a corner. They're going to try and take a fight here. They take one. They get the Stormcaller down. Fields of Love is expended as well. Is this going to be Elo Terrace life? Indeed it is. Devo comes with the kill, but Midgod is going to return it. I'm Mute Be Kind comes in on the back end. Picks up Midgod. 3 down for MSS. Can they keep it going? No, they cannot. Brutalize and Heart Bomb are going to be enough, and that is a deicide for Nat20. They're going to go ahead. They're going to take the Fire Giant here with their health bars being where they are at. I'm not sure if they entirely can before A1 gets there. A1 trying to make his way there, doing everything in his power. The movement speed bonus for his 2. He has the ult. The penetrating Moonlight. A1 takes out on Mute Be Kind. Big shutdown for the Tsukiyomi, who is able to get the damage, who is able to get them off the Fire Giant and ensure that nothing happens here. Big damage on to stop you as well, forcing out the entire team of MSS and pushes this game ever further.
Yeah, I mean, we went from up a couple thousand to even, and then A1 gets a massive shutdown, gets them off of the Fire Giant, which would have been game-turning. Probably just a little too eager by MSS there, but when you decide an enemy team, man, like the emotion, the adrenaline, all the stuff that you're feeling, you're like, yeah, dude, let's take fire. But now Fender is dead still. Nat20's got a couple people around this Fire Giant, but 3 of them are honoring A1 once again over in this duo lane. And I think he's probably just dead. He's going to try to do some damage and trade it out.
Here. That's Fields of Love expended from this Cupid. And that is the Cabrakan walls are down. The Stormcaller, not going to be what secures it. It's going to be Izanami Autos. Celestine Wishes immediately pummeled to death. Cafe Cat Art now the one with the Obsidian Dagger. Dagger on Merlin as they go for the Pyromancer. And this could be the game. I mean, on one hand, if Nat20 lose a fight here, they have 4 towers available. What? Are they going to push down left? Take the burden in the game? I doubt it. The protections that this Titan has from all 4 of those towers being active and available is immense. It's got tons of health, tons of procs. You cannot kill this thing easily. On the other hand, MSS, they don't have towers. They don't have Titan protections.
I know Nat20's positioning here, but they're starting to back up now. I was just about to say, I'm not sure how confident we are about pushing into that. Yeah, Fields of Love is down, but Yemo's ult is not. That is a very, very big deterrent as far as taking 4v4s, especially in an enemy Phoenix, even if it is low health. But now both sides getting their 5th members to respawn and start to group back up again, or I would say is Izanami immediately sprints all the way to left lane. It picks up the minion wave, maybe setting up for a split push here. I'm not sure if I want Midgod being my split push, considering he's my carry. But I don't hate the idea of getting Cupid away from this 4v4 now that Fields of Love is back up.
I actually really like the call overall. In order to respect the Izanami going over there, you have to answer with your ADC. So it brings Fields of Love out of the equation. If the walls come down, if the River's Rebuke gets used, then this 4 right here is probably your best answer to it. Flicker allows Merlin to get away. Shock can throw his own axe over the wall and get himself out if need be. The only 2 stuck in are going to be Geb and Tsukiyomi, who actually have pretty good tools in hand to deal with it. The Tsukiyomi
We still
ultimate,
have 2 shells up too. Difference in the
absolutely.
relics
So
between game 1 and game 2.
I actually really agree with the split push. I think it's a little bit cheeky and very, very clever if this goes properly.
Oh,
and Midgod's just going to shred down the bird. Cupid looked away for a split second, and the left bird is down. Midgod credited with the bird, who's going to be able to get away and get to this fight over here in the mid lane as it starts up. Bombs expended by this Agni, and now Nat20, they're a bird down. They have to defend this mid bird. They have to keep Nat20 out of their Titan room. And we just get to dance around here for a little bit. And
There it goes.
Never mind, the bird just goes down. Not even a fight over it, just poked. Eventually poked out. But that's going to be multiple ultimates expended to get Elo Terrace. But Midgod picks up Celestine on the back end. A1 going to fall. That's 2 for 1, but you took 2 birds. Are they going to push in? It does not seem like it. The rest...
They can't push here. They have to get out. Get out here.
The rest
Geb
of MSS is just too healthy. Geb pulled back in, but not going to be pulled in far enough. As Game Over Me is going to be able to roll away. And with 20 seconds left on that Fire Giant buff, ladies and gentlemen, we have another Fire Giant dance on our hands.
And not only that, deja vu of the last time that Nat20 had the firefight. Granted, they didn't get it last time, but very similar situation where they got 2 birds, and then they ended up overextending, sitting at that blue buff bush, waiting to try to take the 4v5 after Tsukiyomi was picked. Not so this time. Grab a pyro on our way out, screw that last Phoenix, and then we just straight back to farm. Hey, let's get game over 20 if we can. Let's get some final items. Let's look at some of these 3K pots that are definitely starting to get available as both teams agree. Both teams reach the 100K mark. But we're getting to a point now where it's starting to look like Nat20 and MSS, yeah, they're even in gold. We're getting, there's a little separation in the kills. But MSS has a lot more team fight resources with this Yamoja, this Cupid, but fights are just not going their way.
The positioning out of Nat20 has been significantly improved this game as compared to last. The warding has been a lot better out of Nat20. They're just playing a much cleaner game, and MSS have yet to respond to the fact that this is, dare I say, a completely different team than they faced in Game 1.
Yeah, I agree. It's totally different. I mean, Nat20, it's almost like they've swapped positions, right? Not that MSS is positioning bad, but Nat20 positions so aggressive, they were just punished by that team pick or that team fight style comp. Just not the case anymore. Yeah, you bring Elo in, but he's not Mordred with lifesteal. This is a non-chalk aspect, full defense, Sanguine Mystical. So, or Sanguine Midgard, excuse me. So it's like, hey, sure, pull me in with this Fenrir ult. And then while you stand on top of me, I get Izanami ult, which is exactly what happened in that Phoenix fight. Like, okay, cool, we got Elo, but now all my backline is one shot. And this Fire Giant Jan starting up. Agni and Cabrakan just sprinting on the way in here, but Shock going to get a massive ult. Agni goes down. Fields of Love is down. Fire Giant's at 1,000 health, and it's going to go the way of MSS, but can they get out with the fight afterward? Elo sprinting through. Yemo ult going down. Fenrir trying to get out, but the targets were all over the place. Tsukiyomi is chasing Yemo. The rest of the team is on Celestine. Tsukiyomi's not being turned on. Instead, he's going to get away and now look back at Celestine as well. Still just trying to get out, but the stun going to come through. Celestine going down. ends up being 2 for Fire Giant, but we've still got 2 Phoenixes down. Excuse me, 1 is one does the respawn, but Cafe Cat does have Dagger. Nat20 is 5, is full health, sprinting into this Titan room right now, and we have no ults to defend.
No ults to defend, and finally found my mic again. So here we go as they do take this left bird. Are they going to take the fight after? Celestine down for 40. Nero down for 10. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it now. And in they go. In the Titan room they go. Are they gonna be able to do it? The brutalize is good. Cafe Cat able to get the stun, able to get the knock up. And the damage is fine. Midgard is gonna take down the Titan and take us to a game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, just that Titan fight ends up starting with Midgard hitting the mid bird. The rest of his team goes into Titan room, and Midgard's padding his structure damage stat. But it ends up working out just for sheer numbers and a huge chalk ult that ends up buying them a little bit of extra time damage-wise for Midgard to rejoin and get the Phoenix down there. But, I mean, just we talked about it where, hey, you know, maybe they should swap the pick around. And I made the point, like, no, we've got to swap mentals. We've got to, like, I've got to start positioning better. I need better communication with my dive. I mean, check all the boxes available. Insanely different feel from this Nat20 team this time. I mean, MSS, I think, played better in game 1, which granted, you know, how much of that was attributed to the way Nat20 played, who knows. But, I mean, I finished game 1 saying that MSS outplayed Nat20 by leaps and bounds, and it wasn't exactly that drastic this game. And I'm not sure how much is just Elo Terrace being unkillable for 30 minutes, but I mean, totally different feel of this game. Nat20 took fights and they won fights time after time.
You know, we brought up the ward differential at the end of last game, considering it was really difficult for Nat20 to actually get in there and do anything with their dive comp. And am I the only one who notices a significant difference?
No, I agree with you. Ward's looking a lot better for Nat20 as well. You start seeing Game Over Me. You start seeing Midgod, Elo, Cafe, all these guys double digits, just simply not reciprocated on this MSS side. I mean, particularly Stop You. Stop You went from top wards in the entire game by like 8 to least amount or tied for least amount with A1. That can't happen. It cannot, especially as like Yemo, where you're trying, you know, to essentially ability spam to peel out for your team. Man, I gotta know where they're at.
So, you're the Mystic Sea Serpents. You won game 1 in dominating fashion, but you lost game 2 in about the same way. What are you looking at for game 3? You trying to take first pick? Like, what are you doing? What's going through your head right now in their shoes?
If I'm MSS, I'm calling right back to how we played in game 1, right? Enough of this, hey, we're going to split 2 to honor 1. We're going to split this to honor that. Dude, play as 5. That's what you did in game 1. That's what you landslided with in game 1. Play as 5. Get Stop You on a pick that fits his play style. He wanted to play the Yemo what felt like super aggressively, but it's not the same. Right? Like there's a totally different feel between Ares and Yemo, and I think Nat20 is being praised right now for that Ares ban, and I get it. But I mean, I Mute Be Kind goes from, I think it was Pele game 1, right? Which, granted, does not have a massive team fight like feel. It's a lot of damage, don't get me wrong, but Fenrir is just not the same. Like, okay, hey, Fenrir ulted, we got a pick, that's great. That's not what your team's doing well. It plays better with 5. Get someone to stand in front of Nero. Get someone to stand in front of Dave. Because if you look at these damage numbers, the backline is out damaging the backline on Nat20. But they're just dying. It like Cafe Cat goes through with 1 death the same way that Nero did in game 1. And if that's, you know, the correlation that we need to draw, then that's fine. But Merlin can't free cast. And if Merlin's free casting, then someone please help Nero so he can do the same. Or help Dave, or you know what I mean? Like, let's make someone in our backline safe, because they were not safe all game.
You know, Airborne, I can't help but agree with you, and I can't wait to see what adjustments are made for game number 3. But while we wait to see which of these two teams decide to play as 5 in game number 3, we'll be back to cast as 3 after the break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back for game number 3. Mechanus Cadicius, this time here with the one and only Glacier Yami for the last time this set, running the cameras as we get in for game number 3. Glacier, I'm going to assume you saw what happened in games 1 and 2. What are you looking for in game 3?
I did catch most of game 2. I did not catch the entire draft, and I missed most of game 1. I got like the first bit, had to do some stuff, came back, and then hopped in. But what I'm really interested to see is the adjustment in frontline. It seemed to me like both backliners were mostly just bit part players, where they all did their job on both sides. What seemed to make the difference to me was the front line's freedom of play in every single team fight. So that's going to be what I'm looking for both teams to kind of adjust to here.
I love the way you put that, by the way, the freedom of movement of the front line and the idea of the back line being bit part players, right? Because one of the things we saw is in game 1, um, Agni was able to kind of just really just free cast and play from just this shielded kind of position where he didn't get touched and he died one time throughout the entire game. I believe it was early on at like the 10th or 11th minute in the game on a gank.
Yeah.
So it fits exactly what you're saying, even as far back as game 1, and it leads me to question, what do you like these bands that we see here? The Wukong, the Ares banned away, the Bots, the Hu Yi banned away, the Soul, the Tsukiyomi banned away.
Some of these bands are really standard bands. Others of these bands I feel like are very personal bands, and they do leave some very strong picks up. I think of Odin being the first pick, and that one was not a surprise to me. I'm also shocked not to see a
May the
Jing Wei
gods
pick
of
in the lobbies
Valkyrie
that I'm
surround
playing and
you!
watching a lot. That character is
sound of
turbo
slaughter
busted, broken,
begin!
boo boo, butt cheeks. Like there's nothing you can do other than hope they don't get online. So it's
Get to the
interesting to see that not even looked at
chaka!
either way. But I love the difference in metas, though. That's not a bad thing. At this level, the game's a little bit slower. The game's a little bit more coordinated in terms of team fights, less coordinated in terms of map play early. And so the right side picking a very team fight focused, I would assume kind of like, the damage dealing characters.
Can you
Whereas
keep up?
comparatively, the other side said, you thought our dive was bad last game.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Odin comes back, makes its grand return here in game number 3. Odin, picked by Celestine Wishes in game 1 and used to phenomenal effect. That big circle lockdown cage with no shells picked up on time by the current Chaos side of Nat20. They just
If I'm
they
not
didn't take
mistaken,
shells.
isn't Chaos the Sea Serpents this time around?
No, so Chaos is going to be Nat20.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
And MSS is going to be the team with Davocom, Celestine Wishes, Nero K5, Stop You, and I'm Mute Be Kind.
This is why you don't hop in halfway through a cast, folks. But no, seriously, on a real, it looks like this might end up being a support Odin, and I did hear you talking about putting Sokka on more of an aggressive character. You don't really get a ton more aggressive than that. I mean, maybe an Achilles, maybe a Mulan, but the amount of setup, the amount of zone control from this Odin, there's a fair amount of beads pull. There's a really good amount of dive with what I'm assuming is going to be a tank jungle fender again. I don't know why he'd switch up his build too much. And then on the other side, we have more of a ramping defensive team. A lot of our abilities are abilities that stop you.
I
from
will
staying
hunt you
there,
down!
Whereas the other team wants you to be in a specific spot. This team doesn't want you to be in a specific spot. So it's going to be very interesting to see. To me, the main difference here is the ramp speeds in frontline. Do you think either side has a distinct advantage outside of just the pressure that the frontline picks bring to the order side?
So outside of that, I think I want to give a bit of an edge over to this team picked by Nat20. I know a lot of people are very low on Geb right now, but in a lot of different circumstances, I'm actually very high on Geb. And a lot of the
Ooh.
circumstances center around the idea of low CC comps that might rely on their 1 or 2 moments of CC to get a pick that Geb can cleanse and not just remove a lot of the damage off of them with that shield, that instant damage they get hit by, but the follow-up damage that just completely whiffs because now they're moving again.
Yeah. I am a big Geb fan in terms of fun having. I am not a big Geb believer in terms of is this character actually a relevant pick. I have tried to make that character work. If the enemy team builds one item, maybe two items, it is just a GG. The character has no value to the team outside of a 4 button and rotations that are fairly quick with the one outside of what you posited here, the instantaneous cleanse from the Finral. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of an impact that cleanse does actually have this game. Because I would love to see a character either with more um, aggression and pressure, or a character that's equally as late game but provides more to team fights that isn't as easily counterable. I think of Khepri, I think of Yamoja, even though Yamoja is a little bit harder to pilot. But I would say if I'm looking for a cleanse, wouldn't I want the Khepri ult over the Geb shield, or is there something else Geb brings to the party?
So the thing that Geb brings to the party in terms of the shield over, of course, the revival blessing, the scarab's blessing out of Capri, in my personal opinion, it's a difference in use case. So the so the scarab's blessing right now, the use case of it, I mean, is here. Don't get me wrong. There's not an execute on the side of MSS. And even then, it's not like execute stop Kepri. There are players, much like myself, who've made names for themselves just by being willing to pick Kepri with Thanatos already selected on the board, just saying,
Yeah.
I'm better than you, eat it.
Absolutely. And while you do talk about being better than people, I do want to spread out. I think my mute might be better on the map here with a free red invade. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens to the timers on the opposite side, because Kali just started the speed, is not going to have a red to go to. That might put her behind pretty early here.
It might put her behind pretty early, and it really depends on how this Kali decides to rotate. It's been really interesting watching how a lot of these junglers play. You brought up the invade from the Fenrir, one of two, I think, junglers that can really pull that off effectively. Is Midgod gets absolutely tanked in terms of his health bar right now, and Eloterra is trying to whittle his way back into the lane at the moment. That health bar not sitting so hot for the Mordred, but just doesn't have as good wave clear early on as Celestine wishes. At levels 1 and 2, really has to wait till 3 and 4 to kind of match a shock. But to get back to the question you were originally at, if we can, Celestine and Elo getting into a bit of a scrap here. And it looks like Elo gonna have to really try and weave their way around. Ends up able to get out. Celestine healing
A
up
little bit of a
quite
scrap in mid,
nicely.
it looks like. Fenrir and the Kali both going in. It looks like this Fenrir's going to get a good amount of damage off, but I'm not sure if there's enough to finish anything off, and it looks like that's going to be all she wrote. Sorry to cut you off, I just want to make sure we caught that. But in the duo side, the action is never ending as well. These teams, I said something about gold games and these lower end games being a little bit slower. I think the players took that personally.
The players might have taken that personally, and while you're right from a macro standpoint, because that's the point that you were trying to bring up, is the macro's a little bit slower. The fights never are. A1 gonna pick up the first blood of the game and put Nat20 on the board.
What a great timing of the gank. It's less about the fact that we're ganking and more about when we're ganking. Right before they have a chance to get the ultimate. Chalk with ult, why are you ever there? Mordred with ult, why are you ever there? Both junglers know if they're going to impact this solo lane, it has to be early. And that was such a phenomenal way to give his solo laner a lead from A1 on this Kali.
Absolutely. I mean, it might help a little bit that A1 is traditionally a solo laner, knows when to be there. That being said, and being cheeky aside, right? Very good gank out of this Kali. Not normally a pick you would think of as far as getting active early on the map. Very late game oriented. That kind of, this game hits 30 minutes, we win, we have a Kali on board. That being said, this Kali has a kill. So that timer went from 30 to 27, it feels like.
Yeah, something like that. What I'm really the most interested to see here is whether this duo lane kind of plays with the pressure they're given or whether they stay away. And it looks like I Mute Be Kind is forcing them to play that pressure game by coming over here for this invade. And that invade is going to go off without a hitch. But something that's really, really interesting to me is there hasn't been a freeze yet. There hasn't been any effort to manipulate the waves yet, which may just be a play level thing. But it's fascinating to me that this Geb and this Cupid are just genuinely watching the other team play because they know, like you said about the Kali, post 20 minutes, we outscale. What in the world does an Odin Danza do post 20 minutes that a Geb Cupid can't answer, right? So they're just watching the other team clear, and the other team is obliging them. They're clearing and they're pushing all the farm directly into their opponents, and I feel like that might be a little bit of a mistake come mid game here.
That is definitely a mistake out of Stop You and Davo Comes. They have the advantage here. They have the bird bomb. They have all these different tools to really put pressure onto this dual lane. And there they go. Is Odin going to be able to get the cage done in time? No, not quite going to be able to do that. But the rocket is there. And the shell is going to be used. The taunt even better to keep Game Over Me in the zone, but not able to get the damage down in time.
Look loop.
Davo,
Look at the loop.
Davo and
Fenrir's
Stoppy going to
waiting.
back away. Fenrir going to leap in. Does the brutalize him? He good? No, because the Fields of Love are good, even better. Game Over Me is going to take the kill, though. And that is I Mute Be Kind down in grayscale. And 2 kills now. Going the way of Nat20 here early on for a scaling comp.
And that just feels a bit forced to me. I don't think we have to go in there. However, I love the idea. I love the if you're not going to play, we're going to force you to. The issue is you're into 2 of the best characters that say, nah, we just don't want to do it, man. The Fields of Love were so impactful. And what might else be impactful is this Kali who does have ultimate, if I'm not mistaken.
Does have ult, uses the destruction ultimate, and A1 with the 2-level lead is going to lose that fight. That 2v1 eventually does take a kill, does take the trade, but I Mute Be Kind granted an entire level off of that kill.
Yeah, that's we love shutdowns in this economy. We absolutely love shutdowns in this economy. Have you heard the I say tech, but with finger mark quotations in the air. Have you heard the tech about how to slingshot yourself to a 2-level lead in ADC?
I gotta hear this one. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Make sure you get soloed 3 times, and then if you get a gank and you get the last set, you're level up, and that's before you do gold. As long as everyone gets all of the regular farm. Like, as long as you're not just losing your own farm. It's genuinely, the shutdown mechanics in this game are absurd at points. So, with that being said, it does look like we might have a little bit of a brawl over these imps. I'm not expecting too much, though, as Kali sees the extra body. It does look like the Kali just walks away.
Yeah, I mean, the extra body there ensures that they're going to be the ones to get the imps, and this is a lot of farm going the way of MSS, and you can even see there is a small gold lead the way of Nat20, but it's entirely generated off kills, which, I mean, is fine. You know, this is a scaling comp. We keep bringing that up. It's a scaling comp. It's a scaling comp. That means that they're doing incredibly well for themselves to keep it even at this point in the game.
Yeah, and not only even, but I do think what's really, really fascinating to me is the itemization that a lot of these people are going. Only Cupid really going a pressure item, only Merlin really going a pressure item. The rest of them are kind of just saying, we're going to be farming. They're committing to this. The Geb with the Gauntlet of Thieves, which you only see from people who are willing to sit in lanes and not really get too active. The Oboe, full rush, which is definitely more of a farming item, definitely more of a we're gonna hit camps, we're gonna have that lightning bouncing around to help us. And then the Devos on the Mordred, which late game might make him a ramping menace, but doesn't really do that much in lane against a character that he already should be winning mostly against. But A1 in a spot of bother.
Speaking of being a menace, A1 trying to be a menace to their back camps, leaps away but gets caught in the circle of spears from the Odin. So that's going to be a little bit of extra strength in the pocket of Stop You for later in the game.
And I'm not sure if there's much that Red Side can do about this Gold Fury if it's committed to. That said, it looks like, oh, Celestine with a great solo kill on the other side, but who's going to get this gold?
Who's going to get this gold? It should be, and indeed it is, the Mystic Sea Serpents. Stop You going to be credited with the actual taking of the Gold Fury, but that's also 2 kills going the way of MSS. in a major 2K swing. That's going to be a stunned Merlin multiple times over. Can they get the kill here? Bird Bomb is good for 300 damage, but not much more than that. Cafe Cat going to be able to get out of dodge.
Oh, and
Step
A1 might
up
be on
to
the
the
rampage.
wave. A1 trying to see what they can do off over here to the side. They're going to go to the imps and get those. In the meantime, another spear thrown and another bird bomb, but this time away, not wanting to fight into both. Excuse me, both the Geb and the Merlin. And what are you looking for here if you are Stop You right now?
If I'm playing this Odin, my main thing is, right, if I pull the flicker out of, oh, speaking of pulling things, they are getting in here. And that's exactly what I was talking about. If Stop You can pull abilities, then I Mute Be Kind should be able to kill. But it looks like it might all go sideways here. Stop You is running for his life, and it's not going to be good enough. Gebalt probably going to save A1, and I Mute Be Kind does fall.
What a cataclysm out of Geb. Cataclysmic events for MSS, but quite in favor of Nat20. And this gets them right back in the swing of things, pulls them another 1,000 gold back into the game, and it's back and forth.
Wait, is there an item that builds out of double? What is that item? Is it Odigba?
It is
That
double
Odin has?
Odigba.
Is that on purpose, do we think? Is there an item that builds out of that, or did we just double click it by accident?
Odigba, there is an item that's double Odigba. I do believe there is a health item that builds double Odigba. I just do not remember what it is.
I don't see it that often, so I'm like, ooh, interesting, shiny. But
you know what else you don't see very often? Eye of Providence.
Oh, I love that item.
In lower level games, not an item that you see very often, and one that I know I've really come to love, and I wish I saw more from my opponents. But what it does, for those of you who are unaware, base stats 25 both prots, 250 health, and it gives you a free sentry ward every 60 seconds. There's a lot of value for this Danzaburo. If he had that at the moment, Davo comes going to be put down as we talk about wards.
Davo does what? Okay, I had to do it once discussed. I had to. But no, honestly, though, that's just really good gank timing. A1 has been where he needs to be when he needs to be there over and over and over again. And it's really, really worrying to see a Kali be much more active and now a 2-level lead on a character like a Fenrir who's supposed to run this early game for MSS.
Not only are they supposed to run this early game, but Fenrir runs early games so hard that a Kali actually should feel threatened as to whether or not they'll be able to get online. But A1 is just masterfully playing the jungle right now, and it taking all the farm that's there, even got some invades off. You know, got killed for it a few moments ago, obviously, but got some invades off too. So masterful jungle play out of A1 here. If you're Fenrir, how do you turn this around?
If I'm Fenrir, I've got to be honest, I'm kind of looking to play really objective focused, really farm focused, and I'm not looking to do what we're doing in left lane right now in the ADC role with that Kali. It looks like Davo is going to commit to this, Midgod's going to commit to this, and who's going to get the last hit? It is going to be Dave.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of damage out of the Tanuki very, very quickly. Those clones do a lot more than they seem, especially when you read the tooltip. It's like, oh, they do 20% of their damage, and you take the 20% damage, and it's just so much. You know what else is a lot? Tower damage inside the Odin circle. The stun is good. The bite was better, but the Cataclysm hits too.
No.
And I Mute Be Kind cannot catch a break. Stop You trying to see if they can get something going. But the leap in from the Kali, destruction is used, but the stun is there, and A1 will fall.
And they perfectly juggled the tower as well there. That is really solid play. I'm glad that Elitera showed up, but now he is going to be in a heap of trouble.
The taunt was really good of the Danzaburo. Cafe Cat going to be able to Stop You eventually. But at the end of the day, they keep bleeding into the fight, and that turns out to be a 2-for-2, which on paper is fine, but the way it happened is not.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those we all show up, but we all show up at different times and moments that we talk about so often when we're doing like coaching and like VOD reviews and stuff, where it's like if we're gonna commit to something, we have to commit together. And I think the error there is not being there. The error there is not fighting there. The error there is that not everyone was able to get there at once. So just a little tiny bit of a lack of cohesion there in the game plan and the comms potentially. And it looks like gold, pyro, imps are still on the menu for a minute or so. It's going to be interesting to see where this game next fights, because as close as it is, we're one or two major fights away from this game blowing wide open, just like it did before we kind of started going back and forth last game.
I mean, you bring it up. One or two major fights from this game getting blown wide open. We started from a dead even standpoint, and after one fight, there was nearly a 3K lead, and another fight brought us back to equivalency. So we've nearly had the game blown open already. It'll be very interesting to see not only who blows it open, but how. And I got to wonder, do you have any prediction in that regard? Who do you think is going to really do that?
I have learned the hard way not to try to predict what goes on at this level. I am not intelligent enough to understand what is going on in these players' heads. I'm not intelligent enough to understand how they want to play objectives. I just don't get it. I'm used to the formulaic higher level X plus Y equals Z. And here it's much less formulaic. It's much more wild. It's much more individual play on field matters. And speaking of individual play on field, IMU just has to walk away from A1 here. Only down really about a level and a half, but this Kali is terrifying.
I mean, this Kali has their Odysseus bow, has their Tyrfing, has a Manchu bow. I mean, they are as close to online as you can be without being quite online, and the levels might actually put Kali over the top into being online, stop you trying to get the stun as A1 plays it back, tries to stay away from the Raven Shield, does get clipped by it, 200 health gone, leaps over the tower. That's a Fenrir that they're leaping onto. The Fields of Love are going to get expended, but nothing found there.
Honestly, great stun from Nero though. That was phenomenal instant counterplay to the Kali, who could have potentially gone crazy. And both teams kind of make that a little bit of a nothing burger. However, Stop You could be up a creek without a paddle here if he gets caught by this Morge adult. He's up, he's down, and what the follow-up damage looks like, we're gonna find out. It looks like a lot, but is it enough?
It is not quite enough, and Midgod the one threatened, Midgod the one dead. I'm Mute Be Kind, finds Terrace after. Cafe Cat Art should be next on the menu, but a good shove from Geb is able to save her, at least momentarily. The shield is there, and the shield is going to be enough. Great peel out of the Geb. A1 will fall next, running right into the waiting arms of Celestine Wishes, and Geb, the only one here to defend the tower, should be walking away here shortly. Instead, the three members of MSS, they're going to follow their Agni and do the Gold Fury. They're going to follow the call here, and something I love to see out of this team. Follow up on the call, good communication, but can stop you. Zone both of these members well enough. The spear not going to find its mark. The stun is not going to land. 1K remaining, and Cafe Cat is going to be able to steal away the Gold Fury with an ability that was just ticking over and over and over again. Nero going to be able to pick off the Geb in response, but you can't let a Gold Fury go like that.
That's one of those coin flip moments that you look back at and you're like, why did we coin flip that? But ahead of time, you're like, we win this every time, right? There's no shot on paper we ever lose that except for the one time we do. And unfortunately, the one time is right now.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. You look back at those and it's like, why did we let that happen? When in reality, I mean, what's really up? They don't have the Sunders available. So at the end of the day, it's what? Agni bombs?
That bomb that was used to stun probably has to try to be used for secure, or the Chalk has to stop tanking it or drag it out of the Merlin too. But if I'm Chalk there, I'm like, my mid laner always out secures the ticking ability, right? Surely. So I don't really think it's anyone's fault. It's just a breakdown in communication and an unfortunate event all tied into one.
Hey, I mean, things happen in life, and sometimes there is no better answer than things happen.
Yeah.
But now you have to take a look at it. You have to resolve yourself to not let things happen again if you can help it, and keep playing the game. And so far, they're doing a very good job of that. Stop you ensuring that they're going to use their pressure to the best of their ability. And Celestine moving in, trying to get this this fight with Elo Terrace, but Elo not having any of it. And it's
I've got a
just a lot
question
of
for you.
posture. I've got an
What do
answer.
you-
Let's see if they match.
What do you think about? Oh, well, let's just watch this first.
Davo and
by
Midgod
the
gonna
way.
go to war, and Danza just going to delete the poor Cupid. You
Yeah,
said you
there's
had a
not a whole
question.
lot Cupid does there, but with that happening, what do you think about this Regrowth Striders item? I know when it was first released, it was top meta. Everyone that could build it built it, and if you couldn't build it, you weren't pickable because it was so good. Do we still value it enough to build it specifically on this Mordred before we get the Sanguine Lash, for example, or just in general on this Chalk second item, third item, wherever it is? What do you think about the value of this item? Because it's very interesting. I've been hearing a lot of differing opinions.
So the value of Regrowth Striders at first was like, oh my god, it gives you so much movement speed anytime you heal. I mean, look at Shock just moving around faster,
Look at
notably faster. Look at Fenrir leaping over the wall. The bite is really good. The Stormcaller is even better. Double silence out of the Shock. I'm Mute Be Kind, going to pick up a kill, but not going to pick up much more as he goes down. The Geb in the area. Celestine going to try and walk forward, chasing down A1. The teleport
Oh,
in,
look
but
at
not
look
able
good.
to find anything else. Odin in the area. Is the cage going to come down? That's a stun. That's a shield. That's a Raven shout. That's another teleport, but that's also not much more. What are you going to do? Dive the Geb? Never mind. The answer might actually be yes, but never mind. Break it all away.
It's
They
a joke.
walk
Guys,
away.
It's a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke. Calm down. It's okay. No. Great flicker from Cafe Cat right there. That's one of those moments. That's one of those like Battlefield moments where you're like talking mad crap to someone, and then all of a sudden their tank rolls around the corner, and you're like, "Wait, no! It was a prank. It was a prank."
It was a joke. I'm sorry.
But speaking of people who are about to be sorry, Stop You's about to get picked up again. There's a 2-man this time. Is there gonna be the follow-up though?
Is there going to be the follow-up? Is a great question. The Cataclysm is used, finds 3, but Stop You and Celestine are going to be the only 2 to fall, so both frontliners down and out for the count on MSS. But here comes the MSS Rocket Raccoon. Davo comes, going to pick up the kill on the Tanuki, as Cafe Cat going to find the Pyromancer, and Elo Terrace going to be the one to fall there, so 2 tanks for the price of 1 and a pyro. 2 tanks
That's
and a
one of those-
pyro for the price of 1, I think is the actual way that's supposed to be said.
Something like that. I just want to point out how impactful Midgod getting there first was there. I don't usually love to give ADCs credit because they're kind of the most AFK I'm going to left click while singing Payphone by Maroon 5 role in the world. But that was a phenomenal play to dash in to get the ult, to have the heart bomb to follow up. I'm just going to give the guy his flowers. Midgod was the reason they won that fight. Period, point blank.
To be fair, the reason they won that fight is because Midgod did the not ADC thing and rotated. I think
Yeah.
that's why you're so ready to give him his flowers for this one.
Stop You could be in a little bit of trouble, but I'm assuming this is just going to be a tad bit of poke here. Has the leap, still has shield, still has his stun up. Nothing going to go crazy here, but Chalk is going to start zoning. Looks like Cupid wants to reset, and if he does, this is going to be a pretty advantageous gold pull for blue side.
So, order side here, the side being the Mystic Sea Serpents, they're going to have this gold pull here. And they've already got it down to about
Look
5k
behind.
as the Kali leaps in with their solo laner. The Destruction ultimate going to get used. This should end in their death. It does. Elo Terrace going to find Celestine, wishes in trade. I'm Be Kind falls as well. Midgod 100 going to pick up that kill. And the Fields of Love going to get dropped, but Nero is able to get out just in time, able to dash away before that lands. And so both teams going to disengage, one without their jungler, one without their dive.
It looks like
And
this might not be fully over though. Game over. Stop you both looking for a little bit more, seeing what they can gather here, seeing if they can get any sort of little cheesy advantage here. But the proof is in the pudding. Both teams much prefer to just walk away, regroup, and go again another day.
yeah, I mean, it looked like Nat20 was setting up what I like to call an offsides trap, taking a bit of a cue from soccer, if you will, and trying to see if they can catch somebody lacking. Game over, trying to zone two people, can't really do that all on their
Dan's a
own.
rocket.
Danza Rocket's going to get a stun. The Gold Fury is going to go the way of Nat20, but Davo is going to pick up the support from the other side as Elo Terrace gets back in, but Narrow's going to pick up Midgod. That's 2 for 1. Stop you down, but in exchange, the entire dual lane of Nat20.
And I'm going to complain for just a second here. That was a phenomenal look. That was a phenomenal try. It actually doesn't look like it's over, so I'm going to stop complaining and watch this. We are taking a ton of damage from this Chalk. Chalk gets a pick. Cafe Cat Art gets a pick. And this Fender's looking for their own piece of the pie.
Leap in, but that's going to be missed, and so instead they have to go for the Ragnarok. Going to get the bite down in Elo Terrace, the only surviving member of Nat20.
And that just went from bad to worse. Trade outs are one thing, making an extra play is another thing. But yet a third thing, and one that is just not sustainable, is just saying let's brawl, 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 brawl with the type of comp that they have. Davo managed to get the last hit, out securing the Sunder from Elo Terrace. But I want to kind of think about these two comps, right? Elo Terrace has some great setup for game over stun, for Cafe Cat Art's ult, for Midgod's ult and follow-up sustained DPS. The other side has a big cage, and then they have a ton of sustained damage. They have some okay flank, they have some okay dive. They have a much more easy to execute team fight if it just keeps going, in my opinion. So if everyone dies based off of the first time everyone presses 4, I think it's pretty safe to say one side has an advantage, but the longer these fights go, the more use that Davo, Stop You, Nero, I Mute, and specifically this Chalk, they're just getting insane amounts of value out of the elongation of these fights, I think.
I mean, you brought up the regrowth striders earlier, and this ties in perfectly to what you just brought up. The value of regrowth striders has shifted away from the movement speed and more toward its passive regeneration. So anytime you get a movement speed buff, you heal 5% of your max health over 10 seconds. That healing, especially when tied in with the Shock Spirit Robe, or tied in with healing abilities, or tied in with Health Chalice, or tied in with Yogis, is incredibly valuable. Stop You is going to leap in. I don't think there's anything much else. Never mind. That is a fire giant being pulled.
Midgod's pushing for a bird. Kali's behind.
This should be a fight around it. Midgod is going to get the bird for free. No strings attached. A1 is in. Destruction Ultimate's going to get used. And Davo comes is gone. Eliminated from the fight. Kali trying to keep going, but A1 will fall. Davo is the first to go, obviously. But Elo Terrace is in, seeing what he can do. Gets the root, gets the crippled down. Cafe Cat going to find Celestine Wishes. Put down the solo laner of MSS. But MSS, they get the Fire Giant, they get the Obsidian Dagger, and Stop You trying to run as far and fast as they can and able to get to safety.
I don't know if that's worth it for MSS here. We got fire on 3, but we lost a bird and we barely traded the fight out in any meaningful way. We are going to push a tower here. This makes it slightly better for us. But if we're MSS here, map state, kind to us. Getting that fire, it is what it is. But I really, really worry, again, about how we're taking the fight. Celeste does die to get the last hit off. Midgod did split. I don't really want to see a fight without Midgod again if I'm red side, and I think we keep trying to keep things split if we're blue side. What do you think?
Nat20 definitely want to fight with their ADC. There is no real other way to look at that. Midgod needs to be in these fights. He is the biggest part of their team right now. He's got... Never mind. Okay, the Merlin does have pen. I thought for a moment Merlin didn't have any pen. And this This Mordred sure wanted the Agni and gets him. Agni brought in the air by the Mordred. Mordred dashing away, trying to make sure that he's able to stay alive. The cage is dropped, and Eloterrus will eventually fall to the onslaught of damage brought
what a
his
cute
way. But
call.
the Fields of Love are going to be used to bring this fight back in exchange. The Fenrir Bite is going to be good, but A1, the Destruction Ultimate, is going to keep them alive just long enough. But Narrow 5K is going to pick that kill up. And a big rocket out of the Tanuki. Devo going to make sure to her stomach, game over me, able to roll away. However, that means that these towers are open and ripe for the taking for MSS.
This has to be at least one Phoenix here. We got about 25 seconds with only Geb on the map. I don't think he's going to have a whole lot of go options here, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm looking to see, at the minimum, 1 or 2 birds here if they don't decide to go straight for an end here. There are 2 T2s up, so that Titan, like you talked about last game, is a little bit tankier than we'd like. But I'd like to see them stay aggressive here. If they do get a pick, if they do kind of... No, it looks like they are going to back off here. I'm wondering if they're going to go for this left tower and then fall back to the gold, so that the weakened thing is actually the Phoenix, but we'll see here in just a second.
No, they run straight to the Gold Fury. Look at this. No break at all, running straight to the neutral objective. I agree with you. I would have preferred to see them destroy the tower, but making sure we get the weakened state on anything at all is also very, very important, especially with Kali coming back from Grayscale.
Exactly. I was going to point out, especially making sure it's not contested. So they're going to say, listen, it's slightly less advantageous for us, but it's free. Let's take the free win, reset, go next. And I loved that. Can we take just a second to talk about how non-threatened this Danza has been this game? 2 deaths, both of which from pretty impactful tank play or the gank play, or, you know, he, in these team fights, has just been using his slow immunity to get out of the Cupid ult, biding his time, and then he's ulting the backliners every time. I'm really starting to wonder if letting this Agni, letting this Danza free cast as much as they are is potentially a mistake for this Nat20 side. This Nat20 side does kill tanks well, but are they investing too much into the tanks? That's my question for you.
It's very possible they're investing too much into the tanks. I mean, even as you bring that up, the Merlin has gone Helm of Radiance because they're worried about the damage they are taking. Now, Helm of Radiance is not inherently a bad item for an intelligence user to get. It does have 65 int on it. But because they're going in a defense item, that is other stats that they are missing that they could have instead.
Yeah. No, absolutely. This fight might kind of, we've talked about the game being blown open. We've talked about the story, the ebb and flow, the back and forth. It's only 3k difference right now, but there is already a bird down, and you have to wonder, if Nat20 doesn't get a good result this fight, is the game just over, or can they turn the tide again and push for themselves?
I think the tide, it's one of those things. The tide can definitely turn rather quickly in games at this level. That being said, I mean, this Pyromancer is diving. Its HP is rapidly diminishing, much like the Shock, who gets burned away. But Devo comes. He's going to be the one to destroy the Pyromancer. The circle of spears is going to be dropped as well. Odin ult expended, but nothing more here on the fight. Celestine dead. Team backs off.
I'm almost surprised that we didn't go a little bit harder there. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like after we get that pick, I would kind of be screaming to get in there. I mean, you played with me. You know how I am. I get easily excited, but I feel like we have such a big advantage. This chalk has been so impactful, so absolutely vital. If we can just reset our health bars quickly, pull this fire giant before the chalk's relevant again, this might be a great look for Nat20. But it doesn't look like they're interested in the reset quite yet.
They're not really interested in the reset. It looks like they want to try and position for this fire giant. It might even be the only thing on their minds here. Fenrir leaping in, looking for a Ragnarok target. Does he find one? Yes, he does. pulling. I believe that's the Merlin indeed. That is the Merlin. Nero going to get the kill. Cafe going to return it onto the Fenrir, but Elo, Terrorist, and A1, they find multiple. That is 4 kills for Nat20. Triple kill for A1. And the only one left alive is the recently respawned Celestine Witches.
And Mech, I'm not going to say I told you so. However, we fight without the Chuck, bad things happen. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2, but it's pretty darn close, and this game might be done if we're not careful. Cupid coming back from base, he's going to have ult soon. If they wait for a minion wave, potentially wait for him, they're going to be able to go in here pretty easily. They are going a little bit early though, and that could potentially be a mistake. Game over does ult the Titan. It looks like we are looking at the Chalk, who's going to do a lot of damage, and I'm not sure which way this is going to go, Mech.
Celestine Wishes is already able to pick up one. The Titan picked up one of his own, but Celestine is going to fall, and this isn't going to be quite game. Eloteris and Midgod, they don't have a minion wave, and they don't want to aggress without one, especially not with Fenrir, Danzaburo, and Agni all respawning.
Yeah, and we talk about the balance of games, and we talk about balancing, and the word that comes to mind, and the phrase that comes to mind at this point, we're talking about a razor blade's edge. This game is so finely balanced. Each and every fight is decided by one semi-minor or mid-level error, where it's not even just basic stuff. These are fairly high-level plays being made by these players, but at the end of the day, the issue is we're making them without our front line, or we're making them at a wrong spot, or there's different issues every time. Now it looks like we might be trading a Pyro for an enhanced Gold Sphere, or do they actually go to the big fire? They do.
They got the big fire on 4 as well. Everybody but the recently and now yet again freshly spawned Celestine Wishes. Every single person but the Shock has Fire Giant on them if they are a member of MSS. Now, that being said, Danzaburo trying to go for this Pyromancer, and at the same time, it is important to note they cannot weaken the birds of Nat20. A very important note for the simple fact that if those birds were able to be weakened at this point, it might actually just be over right now. But a very key objective trade for Nat20 and might have been a very, very heads-up play.
Could just have been. Another thing that I want to talk about just for a second here, between the brawls, there is no enhanced fire giant in this game. It doesn't quite function as it did last game, where post 30 minutes it's just a win game button. Instead, it's a slowly ramping power curve button, to where, if I'm not mistaken, it's 30 strength, 30 int per stack, or 30 and 40 or something like that, to where
Something
each
like
stack
that.
each stack of fire giant, they get increased health, increased intelligence, and that is what increases each time the fire giant's dead. So now, instead of the 30 and 30 that it was the first time, now Fenrir, Agni, and specifically this Danza are operating with 60 more strength or int. The next one's going to be 90 more strength or int, and it's going to continue to be even worse as the game progresses. Is that enough to take them over the hurdle, though? Is the extra buff, the extra power, the extra regen, is that going to be enough to completely turn this game around? Because right now, it's brawl, brawl, brawl. It's we win, you win, we win, you win. Fenrir's not here, and if they find that out, this could go sideways again. But they were going to back off. All right, what do you think? Do you think it's as simple as siege up, or do you think they should split the map? Or if you are MSS right now, how are you approaching this? Because I know you love this late game sieging aspect of things. How are you pulling this off?
Personally, one of my answers here, one of my favorite go-to answers, is the classic, hey, let's siege them, let's split them up, let's make them address us at every single stage. So, they don't necessarily, the problem is they don't necessarily have a great jungler for that.
No, not at all.
Fenrir, not well known for doing a ton of damage to structures. Now,
I mean-
Boomba's Spear helps out with that a lot, but I would love to see this Danzaburo actually sidle out and separate this Cupid from the fight. If they move Midgod over, if they're able to force Midgod out of the fight, I think they can take the 4v4 under Phoenix and win it.
Real quick before this starts, that's a really interesting take, and I'm loving the ideas here. Wouldn't it be more effective just to send your colleague who can probably one-shot the guy before he gets into his rocket, though?
That is definitely on the table, and that is something that Davo and company would have to keep in mind, is that instead of getting Midgod, you might get A1, and the Tanuki might just get evaporated if he tries to go for the bird or takes too long being away from his team. But at the end of the day, I think it's better to at least have tried something like that than sitting on your hands for the entire Fire Giant.
Absolutely. Now, 10 seconds left on fire, which means it's going to respawn in about a minute or two. Looks like this ancient Gold Fury is going to respawn again. And I'm going to be real. I'm not sure that I'm expecting much of a contest from Nat20 here. I think this is going to go down quickly, and I think it's going to go down very easily for this MSS team.
Quickly indeed, and Nat20, they're trying to mount a defense of this Ancient Fury, but Celestine doing everything in their power to keep them out, not quite able to, and Cafe Cat is able to do it again? Cafe Cat with yet another objective steal, as yet again the up down from the Mordred, and Cafe Cat gonna find a kill. The leap over from A1, trying to force their way through. The stun is good from stop you in passing, and another stun out of Nero is able to keep the collie from advancing too far. Midgod gonna dash in. The stun is good yet again from the Agni as he keeps raining damage down on the Nat20.
And now as we kind of move into this Phoenix Siege, it does look like they're going to just go for it. Looks like they're going to say the game's over if we get the picks. We're going to look for the picks, and they do get the picks there. Kali with 2, but Kali does fall. Looks like Nero's very low. Looks like Mute Behind is very low. And this could potentially just be it.
It's Nero versus the world. Nero versus all of Nat20. Nero actually picks up a kill here. Can he defend this? There's one. There's some big damage on the Cafe Cat. Can he get the damage he needs? The stun is there. Cafe is not down. And Nat20 will end this game.
And what a comeback. What a way to stay in it. This ends 29-30. This ends with maybe a 2K lead at most. But that's not the story of this game. Both teams back on their heels, rocked forward, trading heavyweight punches this game before it ends up in, I believe we did say, a Nat20 victory. And what a game of Smite.
I mean, this was everything you want to see, even in a high-level game. This is the kind of spectacle you want out of SPL. Maybe not that you're going to get, pro players generally significantly cleaner than their Enkidu counterparts. That being said, I mean, 12, 10, and 12 on the Kali, just running around, even early game, A1 was running around, finding value on this pick, and really just forcing a lot of different things to happen. And sometimes they weren't great for Nat20, but a lot of the time, it was relics.
Yeah, pulling those resources, getting the fights to where they're in an advantageous state for Midgod, for Cafe Cat Art to free cast in. I've got to be honest. You're looking at the front line of Mordred Geb, and you're like, what in the world are we doing on paper? And then you get into game, and you're like, oh, that's what they're doing. Pick up, put down into 18 giant circles. Pretty easy, man. It worked. We said that gold was going to be quick. We said it was going to be free. It was neither of those things. We did not have the DPS. We did not have the damage. And the cavalry showed up, bro.
The cavalry in the form of Cafe Cat on this Merlin, stealing away, was that 3 objectives or 4? With Ice Stance, 1 with Fire. Like, it was insane.
We're here for it.
You don't look to Merlin for objective steals. You look to Merlin for objective burn and the single best base defense in Smite. And they got objective steals out of a pick you don't expect that from. That's usually gonna turn the tide pretty heavily for you.
Yeah, phenomenal play on field. Great to be a part of this, even if I just had to jump in at the end. Really thankful for the opportunity and really thankful for y'all's time to cast this game. Fun game of Smite to watch, man. I can't say much else. That was just genuinely fun to watch.
A phenomenal set capped off by a closest ever win eked out by Nat20, a 2-1 finish here in the Enkidu division. This was Mechanis Cadesius. Alongside me has been Glacier for game 3 and Airborne for games 1 and 2, with Yami running the camera behind the scene. Thank you everybody so much for watching. Thank y'all for your time to be here for this cast, and we will see all of you again in just a few hours.